game is not important. The hero Rico is trying to destroy his home because he loves it so much. And go. All right. Here, this is just like a minute, 15-second auto-scroller. There are some SAM sites that we're going to destroy, hopefully before it tells us to destroy them so we don't have to hear extra voice line because no one wants to hear the dialogue. If you're curious, I'm the only one who speedruns this game right now. It's been like that way for about over a year. There were some other people early in 2016 who are also into this deviant lifestyle, but right now it's just been me. But that's okay. I'm here to represent and tell you the good news of Just Cause 3 speedrunning, which has lots of very important life lessons for real life. We can shoot this stuff over here, and we will be back here in about 10 minutes to level this place, but because this game is very strict with giving you abilities to interact with stuff, it's not actually going to count any of this. Like you can see it's blowing up, but we're struggling. I see someone talking about playing this game offline. Yep, that is how I'm running it. Playing this game in offline mode for Steam, if you have it on Steam, for example, is definitely the best way to play it. Alright, so now we're finally going to start doing movement stuff. Most of this game really is about making use of the parachutes, the grappling hook, and the wingsuit to move around. And because the donation incentive was met, we're also going to use the jetpack, which provides some additional movement options, as well as also some additional weapons. So here, this is almost like Just Cause 2 style movement because I don't actually have any of the advanced stuff yet because the game is very strict about, again. Here we're going to have the one normal driving sequence of the game. So if you're hoping for lots of drifting, this is it. You're going to get all your drifting right here. I don't recommend doing normal driving things in this game. The physics are kind of weird. Like if you have your car on the surface of the road, the driving physics are okay. It's just your kind of normal sandbox driving. But if you do anything where you leave the surface of the road, then your car just has no weight suddenly, and you're going to just fly. You'll see this when I'm shooting enemy cars, that they will. The moment I pop a tire, all bets are off and things just happen. So here we're just driving to the final point. Unfortunately, if you actually stray from this path, the 20-second timer will start, and there's no shortcut that will get you to the destination in time to avoid running afoul of that 20-second timer. So here we're going to have our first set of waves of enemies that are going to come at us. The intended strat is to use this tank, and that is generally the fastest thing to do. We'll have a random number of Jeeps come from the left side, and then we'll also have one each come from the right side. So again, it's important to destroy all the enemies, so for example, those guys there also do need to be defeated. So we got one more from the right here. Oh. Then we're going to have one more who sometimes slow rolls me right there. And then a motorcycle is going to come through there. Yep, okay, I got him through the tree. A weird feature of this game, especially in later patches, is that sometimes cutscenes just don't load. You just kind of get stuck with this camera that doesn't know where to go. This is one of the places that it happens a lot. And then there's another one later that hopefully, we'll be lucky too. Welcome to helicopters. The fastest way to fly in a helicopter is to go like this, sort of down and to the side. Gives you about an extra 25% speed. This helicopter flight's pretty short, but we'll have some 2 longer flies later to get to missions, and then one really long fly to clear a bunch of bases. Again, we're going to use sort of the intended minigun here to take care of waves of enemies that are going to come towards our position. So here what we want to focus on is trying to pop the tires from a distance. As you can see, whenever you pop the tire of these Jeeps, they flip over and instantly kill everyone inside. So you don't have to worry about, you know, one of these guys coming out and having to hunt down every last enemy. For this helicopter at the end, ideally you want to kill the pilot before you actually blow up the helicopter, although it really isn't consistent. Yeah, so there I had to end up blowing up the helicopter. Alright, so that's finally the end of the first tutorial mission. Now we're going to do another second tutorial mission because we still haven't really gotten the upgraded tethers or the wingsuit yet, and so we're going to get those from the second mission here.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
How come you don't run Just Cause 2?
I think the answer to that was, there's two answers. One, I would say the movement in Just Cause 3 is more fun because the wingsuit, which we're about to get, isn't in Just Cause 2. And then the other answer is that, so in this game, I'm going to be doing these things called liberations later, where I have to blow up certain bases in order to unlock missions. And Just Cause 2 has sort of a similar thing, but in Just Cause 2, it's just grinding out chaos points, whereas opposed to this game where it's kind of more focused on specific geographical locations. So I would say those are my two answers. Anyway, all right, well, I got the chat right here in front of me, so maybe I'll answer some chat questions. I don't run any GTA games, but I do watch lots of GTA streamers. So that's definitely why I have beautiful, beautiful emotes like yes duping. Who wouldn't want to see yes duping? Important, if you want to run this game, there are certain load screens where if you just mash buttons, the game will freak out and teleport you to places and you'll instantly fail a mission. That was one of those load times. I recommend not doing that. I was hoping it would be useful because teleporting sounds pretty useful, but it's not, unfortunately. Like, for example, another thing you can do in this game is it's actually fairly trivial to clip under the map, but you can't really do anything with it. It doesn't let you skip any sequences.
Ready for the convoy.
Yo, who hates this table? Yep, I hate that table. So we're stuck here waiting for a convoy to show up. Is Just Cause 3 best Just Cause? Yes. Yes, it is.
Fiorello's military won't know what hit them.
Alright, cool guys don't look at explosions. Important lesson.
Hey, I recommend you make a deadly cool comic quip or wait.
So we're waiting for Dima to finish this dialogue so we can hack the SAM site. Right now the game's giving us a tutorial about hacking SAM sites because we can, you know, go into an enemy base, hack the SAM site, and then the SAM site will start shooting enemy planes and helicopters. This is not actually useful because this takes forever. So now that there's going to be a squad of helicopters that come in, and this squad of helicopters is scripted to fly into those SAM sites. In fact, this squad of helicopters is so scripted that they forgot to add in any AI for the enemy getting upset that I'm hijacking one. So I'm just going to borrow one of these. The mission will advance once I destroy the remaining helicopters. And so now you can see Rico's dialogue starts up.
And thank you for being test subject. Okay, bye-bye.
I'm going to gingerly park this over here. It's always you're going to see me several times in the run park helicopters sort of away from places. And the reason for that is because this game loves to despawn stuff. This is the only time in the run I have an opportunity to take out my rage on Mario. So I'm going to do that. Oh. Oh. All right. Okay, well this is new. I have never gotten a fail to load on this mission, so that's a good sign. That's a very good sign. Ooh, lad. Yeah, no, that's an actual, genuine, never happened before. Yeah, I know. I love saying that. Okay, well, this is really, really cool because this means that helicopter that I would have used to blow up the military base is now, absent from my life. So we're going to just have to, I don't know, just schlub it pretty hard. Yeah, so there you go. It actually loaded that time, which I guess is good. It would be pretty sad for the marathon if the game just stopped working altogether. All right, so it has, again, this has never happened before, so I actually forget what it's like to just blow up this base on foot, but we're going to do it. So there's a lot of little strats to blow up these different chaos objects. The easiest way to blow up these fuel tanks, if you just have a machine gun, the best way to do it is to blow. Oh, there we go. Smooth move. Do I have any good Just Cause pun? I'm really excited to be playing this game for a Just Cause, actually. I've been sitting on that pun for months and I totally forgot to use it. So a lot of these chaos objects are pretty easy to destroy them with just bullets. There are a few exceptions for certain objects, but for the most part, we're able to get by relying on just the bullets. And I'm going to save these rockets for a special set of structures. We also might get lucky here. Sometimes the game will spawn in additional helicopters, and that would probably help me salvage this right now. One of the things you might notice me doing, and I'll point this out more later as it becomes more relevant, but so you have a grappling hook, and later on you can get an upgrade that will allow you to re-grapple to a different point while you're being tethered towards something. You don't really need that upgrade because the game allows you to cancel your grapples. And so canceling grapples allows you to enter a controlled fall state, and that controlled fall state is really useful because like if you need to interact with something on the ground, controlled falling will allow you to pretty much interact with it immediately without having to go through any sort of additional animation. So another important point here is that these weapons lockers, some of them are random and some of them are not. And so one of the things that I'll be hoping for is good luck for a few of them that are semi-random. Here at this base, I got pretty good luck because I was able to get rocket launchers in both. Sometimes you get these little black grenade launchers. So it looks like I made a slight mistake here, but that's actually okay because I need to go in this direction anyway. Since the backup strat here, there's a chance that you'll get your helicopter blown up, and so the backup strat is there's an additional helicopter I can pick up over here. So right now we're liberating the province of Baia, and Baia consists of an outpost, a military base, which is what we just destroyed, and a town, which is what we're going to go to next. The outpost was the thing we destroyed during the tether tutorial. So we're going to fly over to the town over here and take care of that, and then that will allow us to continue doing more missions. Yeah, liberation basically just means destroying everything, because that's how you show your love and affection for your town. Okay, so there we go. We got, again, so these are some of the structures that we'll deal with in towns. Ideally, we would have had a missile chopper here, which would have allowed us to destroy all this stuff very easily. You can use machine guns to blow up most things, but for example, statues are something that you really want an explosive for. Police stations, beyond simply structures that had to be blown up, also require the player to just sort of cause like a general amount of chaos and havoc in them, in addition to a few other objectives. So here we have objectives that involve opening gates, and then also later on we'll do some objectives that require hacking jail cells. One important thing here is that I want to make sure to get ammo for my rocket launcher, since I'll need that in a second.
That's it.
All right, so that, in order to finish a town liberation, unlike the bases and outposts, you have to do this flag. And there was an example of me entering a controlled fall and then immediately going into the animation for bringing up the flag. So the next mission we're going to do is the tutorial for the Rebel Drop in the game. Rebel Drop is just a little menu, a utility that allows you to summon items, equipment, stuff like that. We're not going to use it too much in the run. We might use it for the very, very end of the run, but in order to do this tutorial mission, the game wants us to go get a scooter and then drive the scooter. But driving scooters is really, really slow. And the motorcycle physics is notoriously even worse than the general car physics. Driving motorcycles is not fun at all. So we're going to do, we're going to take this helicopter and shortcut a little past having to drive this scooter. I think that the game might actually intend this, as opposed to other. There's a strategy I'm going to use in the next mission that's similar to this, where the game clearly doesn't intend for it to happen. So there I made a little mistake because I was just too far up. I couldn't tether the thing, but yeah, here we go. So you want to tether it to be about 15 meters from it. If you tether it to be too close, there's a chance when you turn around here, you'll whip the scooter into the helicopter and the scooter will blow up. So that's no fun.
Then why am I doing this?
I'm the equipment guy for the rebellion, Rico. I bring weapons and vehicles to the rebels all over Medici.
But why do you need
Hey, Tech, could I just get a little more game audio in my headset, please?
You remember little Cecilia Crespo? The one with the
I mean, not because I want to hear the dialogue, but
This is her bike. Beauty, eh? She made fun of my hair. She said it was crispy, so we play a little prank on her, eh?
so here what we're going to do is we're going to try and, there's a few ways to go through this. You could just slam it, because there's a checkpoint right here, so you could just slam the scooter in. I usually will just release it gingerly. There I can use a button to disconnect my tether. And the bonus to doing it this way is that you don't have to wait for the helicopter that we get at the end of this tutorial.
Got them. I'm not sure how these help me.
So here we're going to actually do the menu interface. We have to pick a rifle and a pistol, and we have to pick this helicopter.
Yes, you're getting a chopper. So throw the beacon to a spot with enough space to take off and land.
So yeah, we're not going to bother waiting for that because that would be slow. And now we're going to take a nice little gingerly helicopter fly to our next location.
Anytime you need anything, just use the app. But we can only supply what you can find, so get cracking.
Hey, Sheldon to Rico. I should have figured you'd survive. What do you need?
Thank you, Tech. All right, we're in there. So here we're doing a helicopter fly again. This is kind of the last long helicopter fly just to get to another mission.
Of his disappointment. I thought you and your pal would like to know. Thanks, Sheldon. Mario, you there?
I heard it. I'll meet you outside of town.
All right, so this next mission is going to be our first true escort mission. Flying sideways is faster. It's not so much strictly sideways as it is sort of down and to the side. Here there are, for some reason, 3 cutscenes that I have to skip instead of just hitting skip once, because that is intuitive. And then here we're going to use, it's very important, I have killed myself in this mission several times because there's actually, even though I selected the remote mines while I was in the air, there is still an opportunity, a window, to shoot with the weapon that was already out. And so it's actually very important to make sure that the remote mine stuff comes out. Sorry, Mario. There's a tight little shot here to blow up this cargo plane, and I have to hit all 3 shots. And thankfully with my hot NA aim, I can do that. There we go. Yeah. Esports. So we're going to pick up all these weapons, put this gate out. So blowing up that cargo plane skipped the whole wave of paratroopers that I don't want to deal with. So anyway, this is the first escort mission, and as we all know, escort missions are a poor design choice. So we're gonna not do the escort missions intended.
Target is clear. Engage.
So we're gonna wait for the Jeep to come forward. Now this helicopter is like the weakest helicopter in the game in terms of its towing strength. So we have to be very careful not to, like, oh, okay, we're fine. This is fine. This is fine. So unfortunately, this isn't quite as simple as taking the Jeep to the end mission trigger. Instead of taking the Jeep to the end mission trigger, we actually have to, I don't even know what that debris was. We have to take the Jeep to the mid-mission checkpoint. And if we take the Jeep to the mid-mission checkpoint, we have to kind of swing it through, like just kind of, rock it through. I want to be careful, of course, not to swing the Jeep into the bridge, because that'll blow up the Jeep. And then, but also you don't want to slow down too much. So there's a bunch of I'm gonna be playing it pretty safe here, because I don't want to have to reset this. Yeah, so there we go. You have to kind of swing it between these 2 light posts, and then that gets you the. Yeah, I do appreciate that Mario is still firing out the side of the vehicle. This is a very, very strong anti-aircraft weapon. Firing your shotgun out the window of your pickup truck that's suspended from a Jeep, from a helicopter. So now we can take the Jeep to the end of the level and just sort of dunk it into the end area. And you'll notice that once I get there, that the cutscene does show that we drove there, because that's exactly what we did, because we did it like intended, of course. Don't ask questions. There we go. Yeah, see, we drove there. Easy. All right, so that helicopter that was chasing us is right there. And unfortunately, some of my allies did the very discourteous thing of shooting it, which means I'm going to lose a little speed here, unfortunately. But we're going to do... it's still good. It's still good. We're okay, well, I'm really sorry for this noise that you're going to have to listen to for the next however long. But we're here together. We're here together. We're going to listen to this freaking helicopter until we get to the next mission start.
We've lost it. Get back to your posts.
This is a safe helicopter. If you see a helicopter like this in real life, you can feel You can feel comfortable knowing that this is safe. So the place we're going to, so we're going to pass over this first rock here, and then we're going to something which I don't know if we have any Italian speakers here, but apparently just means like literally Cove of the Rebels, which I'm pretty sure it's pretty obvious from the name, even as nasty American English speaker. You can see there I'm trying to kind of reset the speed boost when I do that sort of forward and to the side. Ideally here, we would have, if we had a full helicopter with no damage on it or with minimal damage, we would have been going like 200 kilometers per hour. But unfortunately, we lost about a good 40 to 60 there. I was trying to keep a straight fade in front of the sound and I couldn't do it. All right, we're finally here. At long last, our national nightmare is over. So now this mission is going to teach us about fast travel, which is how we're going to travel for most of the parts of the game. So we won't have to do any more helicopter flies like that. For whatever reason, the game makes us travel like 5 feet to start the next cutscene. So we need to help this boat out, and we can do that from a distance. And then we're going to go into the map and do fast travel. So now the fast travel stuff is an important part of this game because in order to do fast travel, you need to have a flare. Flares don't get consumed when you fast travel from somewhere that's liberated or somewhere that you own. But there's going to be several mission endpoints where I'm going to be dealing with areas that are not, places that I've liberated, and I don't plan to, so there's no reason to change the route. So here we did meet the incentive for jetpack route, which is good because I discovered in the past few weeks preparing for this marathon that jetpack route is actually faster than traditional any percent. So good work everyone for sparing me from that difficult decision. So here we're going straight to the third part of the game. And this part of the game is, this is kind of the most difficult base to destroy. Because this, oh, am I dead? No, I'm still good. We're fine. This is fine. Usually if you stand right here, this thing can't attack you. But you can tether it like this, which is very safe and I recommend doing. Instead of destroying this base right now, my goodness. Instead of destroying this base right now, we are going to peace out for a little bit because we need to go get the jetpack. And the jetpack, in order to get the jetpack, you have to do the first mission of the Sky Fortress DLC, which is going to be right down here. The reason I'm picking up this helicopter is because this helicopter is useful for doing the mission as well as also can take one of those shots. So I'm able to safely get away more easily.
Dispatch. Target is still at large. Find him.
Fortunately, I'm having really, really good helicopter luck here. So if you like smoking hot helicopters, I have another one. So I'm gonna do the same thing again. The mission start point is like right over there. So I'm gonna park right over here. And you'll see in a second why I'm doing it this way. So this is two reasons. This helps me prevent the helicopter from despawning when I start the mission, and then also the helicopter will be useful during the mission. The DLC packs have these little like slideshow cutscenes instead of fully animated cutscenes. So now we're supposed to be doing a tutorial for learning how the jetpack works, but the jetpack, while very useful, is not as fast as a helicopter. So right now we have to hold on for a second because the tutorial includes an air brake section, and I have to kind of watch it. There's a timer that starts if I get too far away from it, and I can leave this behind once it gets over the lake. I'll be able to safely leave this thing behind and proceed with the rest of the mission, because even though the timer will start, I will still be able to get to the destination before the timer runs out. So once we get over this wall, the timer will go away. So we don't actually need to catch up with the drone, we just need to know where the drone's going. Yep.
Now would be a good time to share it.
Oh, wait. Look at this here. There's a hole on the back of the page.
So one of the downsides of using this helicopter is that even though it's very fast and very durable, it is not very accurate. So now I have to wait just a little bit more because I have to wait for another drone to drop before I can leave this area. So now I can fly up to the mission endpoint. And once I fly up to the mission endpoint, I don't actually have to continue doing Sky Fortress missions. I don't have to continue doing them. I can go back to doing the rest of the game. So that's sort of the calculus of jetpack route, is that by doing this mission, which obviously takes more time than not doing this mission, am I able to save enough time with the jetpack that it makes up for it? And we used to think the answer was no, but it's become pretty clear that the answer is definitely yes. All right, so now we're going to, so this is a situation where we're going to consume a fast travel flame. We're going to go right back to that base that we were at before. Now we're actually going to destroy it this time. When you have the jetpack, you have a little, little UI that allows you to dodge missiles, including this nuke launcher. Where is my friend? Oh, there's my friend. All right. So I have to wait for the next cycle of this. Oh, no, please don't fly into that. That's unsafe. Helicopter. Oh, no, 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 no. What are you doing? Please. You can't. Please don't destroy yourself. Just cause AI. What are you doing? I need... this is very unsafe. All right, well, this is a problem. I apologize. Well, we're gonna have to just blow some stuff. Okay, yeah, that goes that helicopter. Sometimes you have that problem where the helicopter will just annihilate itself on the... Oh, Rico. Please don't do that. All right, we're gonna... This is... Oh no, we died. Okay, well this is going very swimmingly. The good news about dying here is that we might get another crack at a helicopter. The reason that I wingsuited into the tank like that was because the tether will disappear when the Bavarium shield turns on. Oh, okay. No, still got me anyway. Okay, so, this is very, very bad. Ideally, what we would have wanted to do is to get a Bavarium helicopter and use the Bavarium helicopter to take apart the base piece by piece. So the problem we have now is that we have to, when you die here, you get teleported to sort of the wrong side of the base. And even though I have this this stuff that allows me to avoid the homing missile, it's not too useful because the homing missile will still get kind of hit you anyway. So so now we're gonna get a chance to do what we wanted to do, which was tether this down so it can't fire. And then hopefully there is I hear a helicopter. All right, so this is not an optimal helicopter, but it's gonna work for our purposes. So now we're getting on to what we wanted to do, which was actually blow up everything. One thing I have to be careful of is this tank can definitely be a nuisance, because tanks in this game are very good at destroying helicopters. A big shout out to the enemy AI piloting this helicopter for not flying into a tower. I really appreciate it when they don't suicide into an easily observable building. So when you hear that dialogue line, "Here comes the cavalry," that's a pretty good sign, because that means additional helicopters are coming. And so that will make it so that even if I lose this helicopter, I'll be able to just pick up another one right away. And vehicles in this game tend to be pretty disposable. So this is fine, because we want to get one of these anyway. Probably this one, because this one isn't smoking. Oh, maybe it is. It is. I mean, that's cool. There is a risk here that when you're hijacking these that you'll get shot out. But these helicopters do have these invincibility shields, which the player can use, so that's very, very useful. All right, so I think we're in the, okay, I just wanted to make sure, in the interest of marathon safety, that I actually got everything before flying away. All right, so that really went very poorly, but we got out of there. One thing I have to be careful here is I don't want to pop out of my helicopter, because the same button for hitting those prompts is also the button for exiting your helicopter, and that would be awful. So now we're going to move on. So this is a game in 3 acts, and you have to liberate 3 provinces for each act of the game. And what we're doing is, instead of doing each set of liberations sort of in line with when we would need to do them, we're doing them early. And so I'm actually doing the liberations for the 3rd part of the game right now to avoid having to do them later. Historically, one of the reasons that we do this is because this liberation is very annoying to do, and so if you need to keep resetting, it's easy. Well, I mean, still a half hour into the run, but it's not quite the worst thing in the world to have to reset on this part. All right, so this province consists of 2 outposts and a military base. The outposts are pretty easy to destroy. This military base is probably the most annoying thing that we have to destroy in the game. In order to blow up these excavators, you have to take out these sets of 4 nubs on each side, and then also this big steelwork in front here, and it will not blow up until you take care of all the pieces. So I think there I should have gotten it, and it doesn't even prompt you right away. It does a little animation, and then it says, okay, now we're blown up. So you can see, here it just took its sweet time letting me know whether I'd actually gotten everything. I bumped the spacebar and then died, apparently. Well, the moral of the story there is know your controls. So here we're going to have to resort to doing things on foot, which is not the end of the world. This happens a lot because there's a lot of stuff that goes on there where you are getting shot by flak cannons and getting shot by other objects. So what we will do here is take care of this stuff the best way we can on foot. So here I'm going to be using the as much of the jetpack weaponry as I can.
You have time for a quick donation?
Sure.
We have $20 from Food Squeaks. Believe in the you that believes in yourself. Trilogy Hearts. It is late here, but the best of luck with all your helicopters and trains.
Thank you. Yeah, especially need train luck. Trains are awful. Trains are no one's friend in this game. So here you are able to hit these with machine gun fire up close. This takes a lot to destroy if you don't have infinite rockets. Alright, we're going to try and take a risky move here of taking one of these out. This could very well backfire, especially since there's anti-air cannons right there. The reason I want to do this is because these Bavarian refinery stations are really, really annoying to destroy. They take a lot of firepower. And so having the firepower of this helicopter is actually super convenient. I'm also going to apologize for the most annoying noise in the world, which is about to happen. There you go. So the trains that are passing by shoot clusters of lock-on missiles, and the game makes no attempt to reduce the shrieking sound of the lock-on missiles, which is very cool and good. So yeah, I'm going to take care of these. And then that should be it for that. So here with the commander of the base showing up, we have an opportunity to redeem ourselves a little bit because we can hijack this guy's helicopter. Unfortunately, there is a huge risk of being shot off it by other helicopters. I just missed one over here, and then we're almost done with this base, which is, again, ideally, you would sort of expect to take enough damage from various helicopter fire and anti-air fire in this section that you would take the commander's helicopter. Okay, so there's a problem in this game recently where it will despawn the helicopter that you're in, which is very cool, and I haven't figured out what causes that. It actually, I was in the Shots Fired 4 marathon, and I had the same exact problem. Had not been a problem before. Well, this is a route that we've used or everyone's used for a while, or I should really just say me at this point because no one else is running this game. But my hope now is that a helicopter is going to come along, and I'll be able to use that helicopter to go to additional areas of the game. So I'm having bad luck here with these. Usually they blow up with one, but I'm having the great fortune that they're not blowing up like I want them to. So here the game has spawned no helicopters for me. It might actually be worth it to take a death to see if I can get helicopters to spawn, but I'm just gonna slowly make progress. All right, so now what we're going to do is actually we're going to kind of help ourselves out with the jetpack, because normally what we'd have here, we would have the Bavarian helicopter, and we'd use the Bavarian helicopter to fly to an additional province. There's one province in the game that's made up of just outposts. And so that's really useful because, as you can see from that whole military base ordeal, that military bases are really tedious to destroy. And so we want to, as much as possible, avoid having to deal with that. And so what we're going to do is we're going to fly over here. And along the way, there are a few fixed spawn points as sort of a backup for situations where we don't get through with a helicopter.
That's why I see my broadcasting from some sort of underground bunker. Well, carry on. Viva Medici.
So the place we're going to is actually that. So yeah, La Torre Torto is the province, and the first outpost in La Torre Torto is that that antenna up ahead, that big radio tower, which looks very far away. It's not actually too far away. When you're wingsuiting, there's normally without the jetpack, you always want to stay close to the ground because tethering yourself forward is a good way to gain speed. So unfortunately, I think that helicopter up there is not a helicopter that I want. Ideally, I want one that has missiles or rockets. And so that is just a helicopter that is, yeah, it doesn't even have any weapons. This is very useful.
Reports of violence in the area. All units converge. Additional reinforcements to your location.
All right, so that's one outpost down. Now we're going to go to an oil rig out at sea. Now the oil rig is going to be good because we will be able to get a helicopter and actually resume a somewhat normal looking run at that point.
Report.
Also, this is how wingsuits work. If you've never used a wingsuit before, this is all very realistic. Yeah, so there's going to be a fixed spawn for a helicopter on the helipad out here, and then I'll be able to take that and use that to actually not take forever to get to the next base, which will be nice. It'll be fast.
This is dispatch. Did we get him?
Oh wow,
What's going on?
interesting. So this has never happened before. I've never seen
Get to the following
this kind of helicopter spawn here, but this is super cool. We just have to hope I don't do something terrible to lose it. Typically, the helicopter that spawns here is a very heavily armored rocket helicopter, which would be plenty useful for my purposes here. All right, there we go. We got that. All right, normal run.
to your location.
We're back to a normal looking run. Oh yeah, okay. So again, this helicopter is good because it has the invincibility shield and because it's very fast. As you can see here, doing the sideways flying and ascending, going very, 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 very fast.
Target escaped. Return to your posts.
This is HQ. We have additional forces converging on your position. Shocking.
Yep. So that's what an outpost clearing should look like in this run, as opposed to me having to do things on foot. So at this point, we have one more outpost and another oil rig, and then at that point, we'll actually be done all of the liberations for the third part of the game. Now, of course, we won't get to the missions in the third part of the game until the last hour of the run, but once we get there, everything that we need to be liberated will have been liberated, because we did it now. See, look how free the base is. It's been liberated. So the layout of this oil rig is very similar to the other one. It's always, you always got to be careful of the fuel tanks that are attached to the legs. Very easy to miss those. And then there's a few, there's like usually a transformer kind of buried inside. I just got it there with that rocket, that you also have to be careful to get. And then this little guy right over here. So now we're actually, we're done with the, again, for the liberations, the third part of the game. It's kind of the lion's share of the liberations. Very smooth. One thing we have to make sure to get here, so compared to normal any %, we do have to get a flare here. And then once we get that flare, we'll be kind of back into the normal any % flare route. And then we will travel back to the first area of the game. And now we're going to do one more bit of liberating. We're going to liberate the main base for the first area. Yeah, shout outs to the font background messing up there. So here, instead of a nuclear launcher, there are airstrikes that are going to try and destroy us. But actually, the airstrikes are very slow. They will rarely ever hit the player as long as they're moving just sort of at a constant speed like this. And often the airstrikes will actually hit stuff below me and help me out by, you know, saving me the trouble of having to blow up structures in this space myself. Alright, so I'm almost out of ammo here because of all the ammo I had to use on foot before. Although the game did just do me the favor of blowing up a lot of that stuff, so shout-outs to the game for helping me out. Alright, so almost done here. We just got to get one more transform, which I think it might be the one I might have missed up here. Oh yeah, okay, there we go. The one tucked under the tower. Alright, so now we are going to move on to actually doing missions again after about probably more than a half hour of doing liberations. At this point, we're done all the liberations for the third part of the game, and we've done, I would say, 2/3 of the liberations for the first part of the game. So we're through a lot of that stuff. So we're going to be on to doing some missions now.
Why is no one responding?
Although this mission is actually one of my least favorites right now, because I think if you remember earlier in the run, I had a bit at the end of the second mission where like I said, end of mission trigger didn't load after a cutscene. And this is actually the mission in which that happens most frequently. And it happens at a really annoying spot too. Like, I didn't necessarily lose too much time when it happened in the second mission. But the place that it happens in here can be very annoying. So we're supposed to go look for a particular gadget doohickey widget in this military base, but we don't need to look for it because it always spawns in the same place. It's always in this crate right here. So we just open it up using our normal opening up method. We get chopped in half by this door. All very safe. So now we're going to travel to this area where we need to place this gadget. And there is a chance that we'll accumulate 3 stars of heat on, wanted level. And ideally, in normal any percent, I had a pretty consistent setup for avoiding those 3 stars of heat. And it's a lot less consistent with this route.
I need that scanner, amigo. Whoever controls Bavarium controls Medici. And with that scanner, I bet I can even convince the agency to give more help to the rebels.
So ideally, what you want to do here is fly high up above the end game checkpoint until you get it. So like right here, I'm going to get it. And ideally, in normal any percent, you wouldn't get the 3 stars of heat there. Unfortunately, here I do get him, which is pretty annoying. So I just put my face into that grate as hard as I can. And so now we're going to have to take some evasive maneuvers to get rid of the heat. Unfortunately, we can't go to the end mission trigger until we get rid of that heat. It just does tell us, even though I could go there, but it won't let the mission end until we lose the heat.
Oh, I know just what to do with that ruined scanner. I've got the scanner, Sheldon. Where are you?
Good job, Rico. I knew you'd come through for me. Hey, let's meet up and celebrate at Cafe Francesco. I hear tell they make one mean Pinelli Compulio. Oh boy.
So ideally what we can do here is just kind of stall for a little bit and the timer will run out. That's sort of intentional. I'm just hoping we can not be seen. Because if you go too close to the road, there are soldiers on the road who will see you. So there we go. We're fine. So let's hope that this cutscene actually loads. Oh. Yo, shout outs to the thing I didn't want to happening. Alright, well, guess what guys, you get to see that again.
Can I pop in with a donation?
Oh, please do, please.
Okay, I have a $10 anonymous
I've
donation.
got the scanner, Sheldon.
The German Rummel.
And there's a $100 donation. Just staying up late to watch our friend, the world record holder, speedrun Just Cause 3. Good luck, Trilogy, from Coca Koala and Turrets Lover.
Thank you. My apologies for a less than world record run right now, but hopefully we will still get off some of the mission strats pretty well here. Unfortunately, their heat got renewed, so I'm just going to kind of use the fail-safe strategy to get rid of the rest of you. Because unfortunately, the helicopters just know where you are. Like they know. You can see like they're spawning above me. So we're just going to hide out in this cave like a bat. Because as you can probably tell, the helicopters aren't good at flying, so they can't actually get down here. This is sort of the backup strat. So anyway, now that they got bored, and see, it knew exactly where I was. Well, I've never had it not load on the second try, so this will definitely be fine. Yep, see, it works fine. Second time, every time. All right, well, I know you're all missing Liberations, so we're actually going to do the rest of the Liberations for the first part of the game right now.
Enrico, you're going to like this.
What now, Mario?
One of the Ravelo scientists may be defecting.
Ah, good news. Finally. Meet me in Lantuina.
And so in order, so there's actually, it's always been my route to do Lavanda here as the province. Alternately, you could do the Northeast province, which I think is called La Plagia. If you want to, if you're watching and you want to speedrun this game, please feel free to route that. Let me know how it works. Because it still seems like it would be slower to me because there's a very big town in that province, which would make it very difficult to actually do the liberating. It's always a town, whenever I've played casually, I've always had trouble liberating. So I'd rather deal with this military base than deal with that. Unfortunately, we got really bad RNG here. We got a grenade launcher here. Ordinarily, most of the time, a rocket launcher spawns there. And then rocket launcher is the best way to destroy these. But we didn't get that, so we just got to do it the slow and reliable way.
Target confirmed. Sending Marine units.
Unfortunately, there the jetpack rocket locked onto an enemy vehicle instead of the chaos structure, which is really what I would have wanted there. The lock-on's kind of hard to control. Oh, that's not what I wanted. All right, so it's giving me every weapon except the one I want. All right, this is fine. This is fine. We're safe. So the reason I'm not using a helicopter for this base is because there is a very, very high concentration of anti-air weaponry, and so it's much more consistent and really not that much slower to just do it on foot. So that was the military base, and now we have to destroy 2 towns and an outpost, both of which aren't too long. That was kind of the big part of doing this liberation, was taking care of that military base. And so one of the uses of having the jetpack is that it allows me to sort of worry much less about ammo. So, where those statues I used to have to root to make sure I had explosive ammo to destroy them, I'm able to rely much more, consistently on using the jetpack rocket, as long as I have space to aim it.
More forces en route to your position. Eliminate that target now.
So I'm going to borrow this helicopter here because again, one of the difficult parts of towns is that you have to cause enough havoc in the police station. And so, of course, infinite rockets is a very, very good way to cause havoc. There we go. I pretty much got it almost immediately. The one other thing I have to do is some towns require me to destroy a moving propaganda van. So I have to find the van, which is on a set route kind of around the periphery. There it is. That takes care of that. And now what I'm going to do is, oh, maybe not. I'm going to try and park this, but it's probably going to get blown up. Yeah, all right. Well, in that case, I'm just going to park this one instead. Thank you, sir, for bringing me a fresh helicopter. I appreciate that a lot. So, unfortunately, I can't do everything in here from the helicopter. I still have to pull up these gates, and then I also have to do the hacking here. One of the risks of hacking is that I have to hope I don't get shot, and the troops in this do have some pretty heavy stormtrooper aim, so oftentimes I am able to just get away with things, although I will still occasionally have to take care of business. Is that it? Okay, no one's in that tank. We're fine. This is fine.
Okay, Trilogy, we have a $10 donation from Lord Rails. He says, really enjoying this run, Trilogy. Keep up the good work, guys.
Thanks
very much for the donation.
All right, so that's that town taken care of, and now we have one more outpost and one more town.
Wanted to give you the breaking news that the base of RTA has been demolished.
So now I'm going to go back and take that helicopter because, again, as I mentioned, there's another town, so there's another police station where I need to cause havoc quickly. And then also, as we saw earlier in the run, it's pretty easy to destroy outposts because you just have to destroy very, very destructible things that you don't have to get up close to destroy. There we go. That's good. Another base liberated. Hooray, freedom.
You keep using the word liberated where a lot of people would use the word destroyed.
Well, that's just a matter of defining the word, I think. It's really... Think of all things they don't have to worry about anymore. You don't have to worry about audio setup, right? The speakers are gone. They're free.
That's very true. It's a good thing our audio setup is particularly liberated here.
I mean, what could possibly go wrong? So again here, I'm just sort of looking for things to blow up. The Havoc bar gets moved by destroying enemies and destroying structures and generally causing explosions. So it's actually enough to just destroy explosive barrels, for example. Enemy helicopters, when I mean to destroy them, are pretty easy to destroy because I can just tether them to the ground. And then the enemy AI will attempt to escape from my tether by flying away, and it doesn't work out. Oh, crap. Okay, so that was a little bit of a mistake there, because what I had wanted, when you clear a police station, you lose heat. And that's useful because the one type of structure that I need to destroy here is called a monitor. And monitors are just this series of buttons that you have to press within a certain time limit. And you can't be pressing those buttons if you have heat. So I'm just going to hide here for a second while the search meter goes down. Ordinarily, when you clear the police station, you would have your heat cleared, but because I shot someone after clearing the heat meter, the police station, I couldn't do the monitors. So now I'm able to actually just go and do these monitors and finish liberating the town. So there we go. That is all the liberations for the first part of the game. So now we can actually, we're going to finish up all the missions for the first part of the game and move straight into the missions for the second part of the game. And we're also going to, so important fast travel lesson. If you fast travel to the marker for a town or a village or something like that, it'll drop you way up high in the sky from a helicopter. But you can actually fast travel to the markers for the side missions. And when you fast travel to the markers from the side missions, it lets you just appear directly on the ground without having to deal with any sort of flying down to the ground or anything like that. So we're going to do that whenever we can, because that is, it's way quicker than having to deal with flying down. For this mission, we have to get a military vehicle for Mario to drive. This is the best one to get. I have actually played around with other ones, and if you bring Mario a military helicopter, they recorded a line of voice dialogue where he'll complain about not wanting to fly, which was very upsetting to me because I was hoping that I could somehow avoid this mission being so tedious. So we actually have now reached our second escort mission. The designers of this game decided that it wasn't good enough to just escort a car by itself. Now they want you to escort a Jeep and a helicopter at the same time. Thankfully, we do have a skip for this. I'm going to give a big shout out to PowdyNet, who's a sort of a GTA code monkey who helped me out here, pointed this skip out to me, which really saves like 2 minutes, which is very, very good. So thankfully, we will avoid the accursed escort mission as intended for right now. Let's hit them with my freedom revolvers. Where is Okay, so ordinarily when you kill all these enemies, you lose heat instantly, and the mission continues. But all right, well, there you go. So instead of escorting these, you might remember from earlier in the game, when you get too far away from things you're supposed to be following, the game hits you with this 20-second timer. But if you know where you need to go, and something happens where the timer gets sort of interrupted, what you can actually do is go to the destination and then take care of what you need to take care of. And then this will actually be good enough to, well, hopefully here I might have. The timing on this is somewhat tight. So I'm just going to play it safe here rather than trying to style on this. Ideally, if I had more time, I would have swung around to the left to stay close to the ground so that way the SAM site wouldn't shoot at me. But in the interest of safety, I just said, well, let's get to make sure let's make sure that we can end that timer and that we don't have to restart any part of this mission.
Help us clear out the rest of Diravelo's troops.
Yep, just like we drew it up.
Come on, Doc.
Very safe tires, and so that should actually end the mission.
These controls are...
So that avoids having to do this very long escort mission where you're guiding a Jeep and a helicopter through the area, which is really, really cool because no one will want to do that. All right, so now we're going to consume a fast travel flare to go to the first super weapon disable mission. As I mentioned earlier, this is sort of a game in 3 acts, and so there is a super weapon disable mission in every section of the game. Usually it involves having to do some swimming, and then you blow up some generators. Shout outs to Ragdoll State, my favorite state to enter into the game. And so these, the first 2 of these missions are also characterized by having to follow, well, all 3 missions involve following a set of pipes. And then you also typically have to blow up some boats or something. And for me, routing this game, the boats are always kind of a secondary thing because you can shoot the people on the boats. And obviously, that's a way to proceed to the mission. But This is one of the these super weapon disable missions are one of the parts of the game where the jetpack weapons really excel, because the jetpack weapons are really, really good at destroying infantry and light vehicles.
We'll be able to access base and hack military command.
See there, they didn't even get a chance to display the red triangles. That would have signified my need to destroy them.
One moment, Rico. We'll have gate open for you.
And the other really useful part of the jetpack is the jetpack actually allows you to boost underwater, which is something I only discovered like 2 weeks ago, which I was really excited about. All right, so we're gonna keep this weapon. This is not super optimal. I might have to blow up one of the generators with a planted explosive, but that's fine.
And here we go.
Actually, I can probably just... No, don't... Sir, you shouldn't stand near the barrel. That's very dangerous. Alright, well, I'm just gonna... I was hoping to swag there, but we're just gonna plant that. Alright, so now we're going to enter into the first war mission. The war missions are characterized by having a part of the mission being dedicated to moving this bar back and forth. Missile Cowboy, which is the mission we're about to start, has 3 parts. And so the second part will be the war mission part.
We need to meet. Now. Appears the Ravello has working Bavarian missile.
So
I hope the missile code Zeno provides.
the mission start will be here sometime soon. Here we go. So the first part of this mission is that we just have to fly to a location where we have to destroy a transmitter.
Okay, bring it in.
Alright, shout outs to load times. So yeah, so we just have to go over to this location, do a little hacking. That's fine. I almost kind of prefer tanking that hit than actually having to deal with I don't know, anything else. But sometimes the evasion stuff will actually put you in a position you don't want to be in. And so there it's just sort of easier to tank the hit and move on. The only problem here is I'm out of ammo, and so I actually need to, like I've done a lot of things in this run, do this kind of the slow way.
Is ammo conservation a big thing in this run then?
A little bit. I mean, when you ragdoll, you do maintain some momentum, and so that's sort of the ideal thing to happen when you're moving through. But I would say more often it's just sort of avoiding colliding. I mean, being in a position where you can easily tether and wingsuit and other things like trees are very dangerous, is what I would say. The good thing about parachute state in this game is that when you're in parachute state, you can take damage, but you can't take collision damage, which is very, very silly, but I'm okay with it. Important flare route note there, you got to pick up that flare because we used the flare when we were traveling to Vis Electra. Here, so these APCs are very, very tough to destroy. It is possible for me to use the jetpack weapon to destroy the boats. However, those vehicles do float, and then sometimes I can actually soft lock the game because sometimes when they enter into a floating state, they become indestructible. And this actually happened to me while I was practicing here at ESA this week.
Hey, amigo. I'm hearing rumors about a
So during a war mission, winning the individual battles will move the bar to the right, which is what we want. In addition to that, pretty much destroying any enemy vehicles or like anything like that will also help. So when you're going along here, it's actually useful to take some pot shots.
Rico, these tanks are overrunning the left teeth. Bring them down.
Well, this was parked in an interesting place. Okay. The tank controls are as good as all the other vehicle controls in this game. So you do, in this case, you do have to destroy the vehicle you're in.
Great, Rico.
So now what we're going to look for is, instead of going to the next mission endpoint, we're actually going to just try and destroy enough to trigger the end of the mission. Which is pretty close. We just have to get a few victories here. In this situation, you have to hit enemy vehicles or, yeah, there we go. You have to hit enemy vehicles or soldiers. You can't hit chaos objects. Chaos objects don't contribute to that meter, unfortunately.
Sheldon's pilot just picked me up in a helicopter. There is a problem.
And then for the final part of this mission, it's just a very scripted sequence where we have to grapple to a missile and change the trajectory of the missile. Yo, shout outs to the load times.
Time for heroic gesture?
Ah, but heroic gestures are my specialty.
Right, so here all we're doing is just flying towards this rocket, and then we have to, eventually it will let us. We got here kind of sooner than the game expected us to, because I don't think they ever went back and fixed any of the missions to account for having the jetpack.
If it hit, it was 2,000. I thought trajectory altered.
The game forces me to get into a parachute there, which is a weird input. I don't know why it forces you to do that.
Rico, you're amazing! We're going to need to celebrate!
No. This
And now it's time for my favorite mission in the game, and by favorite I mean least favorite. You might, if you've played Just Cause 1, you might remember a mission where you have to drive a truck around that is full of barrels. The barrels in that game, they were square crate. They're crates that didn't really move around too much. In this game, they have the same mission, but the mission has barrels, and the barrels pop out very, very easily. So unfortunately, there isn't any easy workaround to avoid having to deal with driving the intended route. Also, during that cutscene, I think Mario planted a radio near a cow and made Rico kiss the cow. I don't know. I haven't watched any of the cutscenes in this game for well over a year, so they could be about anything. They really could. I couldn't tell you. Yep, so there's the red truck that we're going to drive here.
Rico! Right here!
There's that truck.
Loaded with the gin.
Wine?
Yeah, you can see the barrels are already moving around. It's great. So yeah, and I have tried things like tethering the barrels to the the bed of the truck and stuff like that. And really, as soon as the barrels clear the lip of the guide rails, that's it. Like, you failed. It's over. So we're just gonna try and drive the intended road here as quickly as possible.
As someone who has ridden a missile, let me tell you, it's pretty cool. This is great. Primo stuff. The general, he knows his vintages. It's even in wooden barrels and not oil drums.
Yeah, for whatever reason, I guess after I liberated the first part of completed all the missions, apparently the townspeople got really, really happy. You see, I just lost 2 barrels there.
The worst. I found out the hard way.
Does it matter? Does it barrels?
Pardon?
Sorry, does it matter if you lose the barrels?
Yes, it does. If I lose too many barrels, the mission will instantly fail. So it's very, very cool and good, as they would say.
I feel like we're missing out some awesome trucking music here.
I do wonder why there isn't music in Cars, but you know, it's maybe they didn't feel it was enough of a GTA clone. Also, we actually somehow skipped my favorite dialogue in the game, where Mario asks how many gallons. Oh no, I think Rico asks how many gallons of wine are back there. He says there must be like 400, and Mario says how much is that in liters? And I was gonna make a joke making fun of metric units, but apparently Just Cause 3 is just out for me today. Can't even get my silly meme dialogue. All right, so that was the first mission of the second part of the game. So this is the first mission where we're going to meet some of the other characters who will be recurring. But first we're just going to do a pretty typical sequence where we blow up some boats with a helicopter. Again, this is a good place to pick up the flare that we just consumed traveling from the endpoint of that last mission. Yeah, so this is the one time in the game where it's sort of intended that we'll use this helicopter, which is not quite as useful as the Bavarian helicopter, but it is very heavily armored. It can take a few rocket shots, and it does have infinite missiles, so that's pretty useful.
I would assume he's wherever those reinforcements are going. If he gets hurt, you take the blame, Sheldon. Don't be so dramatic. I'm sure your special little friend will be just fine. Oh, hey, Rico. You might want to watch out for those missile batteries. Missile batteries? Sheldon, what am I heading into?
Excellent. That NA aim. Striking again for freedom.
Ravello seems to have a bee in his bonnet when it comes to Diva.
So here, after we destroy the third boat, it'll prompt us to go over to where Mario is and destroy some units that are pestering him. When we do that, we're also going to liberate an outpost.
Hang in there. I'm on my way.
So yeah, there's 3 boats there and then some helicopters, but we're going to deal with these boats right now just because they present a threat, but rather than dealing with the helicopters right away, we do need to destroy this outpost. It's a part of a province that we're going to liberate in the liberations for the second part of the game. It's also useful because that same site should start helping us. I say should because sometimes the game glitches and it still continues to fire at me for some reason. These two helicopters will spawn at weird distances away from me. So it's pretty inconvenient, unfortunately. Especially this, there's always one that spawns really far away. There we go. So rather than have that helicopter turn around, we're just going to use the jetpack to do a little quicker turn and get back to the boat.
Really up for it, and I want to play with this gun.
Now the bad news here is that we do have to pilot this boat a little bit, but not quite as much as you might think. This is another situation where we have that 20-second timer that yells at us for leaving where we're supposed to be. But we are able to go to, there are intermediary checkpoints that we can go to where we can just kind of fly straight to them rather than having to actually pilot the boat. And so here, for example, I'm able to get to the reach point there rather than having to actually pilot the boat.
Vehicles catch fire on approach. Very curious. Gathering information from contacts.
You see there, the timer disappears and we launch into a cutscene, and then the boat is going to be where I just was.
Inconvenient.
So unfortunately, we still have to get in the boat in order to start the next sequence. But then I can do the same thing.
Next contact may be in danger also.
More mines in the water up ahead. Wait
Yep,
here.
the boat got here. We came here with the boat. Very safe. So for the third part, we will have to drive the boat just a little bit because the distance that the boat would have to travel for the third part of the game isn't enough to... I couldn't get there in 20 seconds, unfortunately.
I don't think we'll be happy with what we find next.
Also, the fastest way to start a boat is by making it jump into the air. So the boost and the jump are features that you can unlock for all vehicles through upgrades. Now, of course, we're not doing side missions in this game, so we're not going to see any of those upgrades. But, I mean, they're fun. I did 100% this game casually before speedrunning it, and it was fun. I enjoyed it. The vehicle physics, obviously, a little finicky, but... Oh, no, I messed up. I messed up. So my mistake there was, of course, that I wingsuited when I was too close to the water. I should have parachuted there first to gain height.
See that?
Smoke.
I say a little finicky in regards to the vehicles, but the motorcycles, don't pilot the motorcycles. Don't drive the motorcycles. Don't acknowledge the motorcycles.
More soldiers, Rico!
Unconcerned. Next contact will not be dead.
Oh, here they come, Rico! Heads up, Rico! Incoming!
All right, so this is actually a pretty good fight. Just had to clear these waves of enemies. And yes, one of the surprising things about the jetpack weapons is that they are actually very good at destroying large vehicles. So, for example, there, a little concentrated fire with the jetpack and one rocket is enough to destroy a battleship, and the same also applies to the cargo planes. I don't think I've had a cause or a just cause to demonstrate that yet, but we will definitely get to that later when we clear a few of the missions that involve waves of enemies. Yeah, shout outs to this really long road time.
Trilogy, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Would you love to travel like your character does?
I mean, it does seem like it would be very cool, but I also worry that that I would hurt myself. It seems very dangerous.
It looked really cool. I would love to do it.
Yeah.
Jumping and around, and
Right?
flying around.
If I was able to instantly break my falling to the earth just by grappling onto something, that'd be pretty sweet.
There's like no gravity. That would be better.
Well, there can be gravity for everyone else, the people who are trying to stop me because I have awesome movement. I'm sure the law would come after me. I don't think the law would be happy with me having incredible gravity-defying movement.
I think the law of the conservation of momentum would come after you.
That law would also come after me. That's very true.
Man, imagine the police trying to preserve that law.
Do you think there's like a secret police maybe that would come out and get me? There probably is, right? You know, the physics police.
I'm afraid I can't answer that
You
question.
can't actually tell me? I respect that. So in this mission, we're going to, this is another mission that we largely do as intended. We're hijacking a tank and then we got to take it to a destination. There isn't too much to be done with this besides making sure that things don't go wrong.
You're right. It is even more dangerous than previously hypothesized.
What's your status, Rico?
I'm approaching the convoy. Good. The tank should be here somewhere. Oh,
All right, so there we go. We got our tank. And now we're just going to, oh, peace out.
retrieve the Bavarian tank from the rebels.
I need drop-off coordinates.
Send it in now. We've got a transport boat ready for you. There should be a switch in there that'll print the shield. Just be careful with it. The coils need to recharge, so power down.
So one of the reasons I'm trying to use the machine gun as much as possible is because I will lose a little speed from using the tank cannon. So as much as possible, I want to pop tires. It's always the easiest way to destroy enemy vehicles.
Careful not to blow this bridge till we're across, Rico. It's our only way to get where we need to go.
And then also ahead here, there's going to be explosive barrels that spawn before I can see them, and so I just clear them out.
Your friend is fine. I always keep up my end. How's my tank doing?
Impressive piece of machinery.
Just don't drive it into the ocean.
Now, so we're going downhill here a little bit, and so ideally, since we're going to go back uphill, one of the kind of goals here is to try and keep as much momentum as possible by avoiding running into any vehicles,
That tank here is one piece.
just sort of shooting to clear stuff to the side.
You know, not every argument between men has to do with establishing dominance, Annika. In fact,
So lately I've been getting cursed by ghost jeeps, and you can see there's a ghost jeep right there. And I don't know why it haunts me. I really wish it would go away. It's very spooky, and I don't appreciate it. That only started happening a few weeks ago. I really don't know what's going on. I think it might be something to do with the jetpack DLC.
under the boat. Gently, please.
So I'm going to do this kind of slowly. Normally I would just ram this straight in, but it'd really be my preference. Oh no, I messed it up, I think. Yeah, all right. Well, thankfully there's a checkpoint right there. I'd had pretty good luck with that for a long, long time, and then recently, I think maybe again because of patches or the DLC, it just hasn't been working as well.
Drive the tank under the boat. Gently, please.
Loading the tank
Yeah, the real moral of the story here is don't go on boats. There we go.
Wheel is off, Rodriguez.
So what happened? Did it just not look like you going on that fast, or Was your angle slightly off?
I think what happened is I got off kilter. I kind of got knocked to the left or right, and if you clip either of the sides of the boat, you're pretty much not going to get in. You're pretty much just going to be stuck outside.
All right, so you have to like embark on that thing perfectly.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's okay if you go into it really fast, because even if you like barrel into the far end of the boat won't flip or anything. It's just you got to clear those front hurdles.
Mario says you're good. Give this place a shot.
change
Show
is
Medici what you got.
It's nice that it's at the same time quite forgiving and really not forgiving at all.
Yeah, no, it's very frustrating, because on one hand, you know, because of the generous auto saving, you're likely not to, you know, have a run die, but you're still going to be, you know, you're still going to kicking yourself for making what seems like such a simple mistake and losing, you know, an easy 30 seconds or whatever.
Is a lot of time. I mean, is there a lot of time lost to the loading times?
Yeah, the extra loading times. That unfortunately, being the sole runner of this game, I did look into what it would take to get a load remover, and the answer was more programming than I wanted to remember from my college years. So I never actually followed through on that. So yeah, since all the timing is done RTA with loads, yeah, no, it definitely contributes a lot too.
But yeah, the cost to remove those load times is pretty high. Then it sounds like.
Yeah, no, it would be. I mean, I think I did it once manually just to see what it's like, and on average, there's about, I would say, 20 minutes of load time, or at least that was the case on my system that I run on normally. You know, obviously, of course, it's going to be different for different systems, but that's probably still about right.
Is PC still better than console? I know that's usually a big advantage of PC runs.
Yeah, I think it's still better just because of a lot of the placement of the grapples is really what's important. The grapples and aiming on foot. The vehicle controls could actually maybe be better on on pad, because the oh wow, that was interesting. Because the vehicle controls are sort of messed up anyway. They make the tank turret move slower, or the helicopters not move perfectly or anything like that. But it's you know, I think it's still ultimately better. I've tried a few times using pad just to switch into for different things, and it still doesn't seem to be advantageous to me. But remember, I've also been running this game by myself for like a year now, so I could very well be proven wrong by someone who wants to show me what's what. So here we're going to have waves of enemies spawn that we need to take care of. This is a good time to explain that Just Cause 3 does not like it when you are either in physical proximity or looking at the place where the next set of vehicles are going to spawn. So, like, for example, right there, I was intentionally looking away from where these vehicles would spawn.
So if you were looking there, would they not have spawned?
It would have delayed the spawn until I looked away, probably. And so actually, I use this a little bit to my advantage, because on the final wave, there are going to be two Jeeps should spawn, but because I'm standing right here, a Jeep should spawn right below me, but it won't spawn. And then when I kill the other Jeep that does spawn, it will instantly end this portion of the mission, rather than waiting for that last Jeep to spawn. Now, if I take too long to kill this, yeah, see there, I took too long because I was distracted by thinking about the world, but you notice that didn't spawn until I left that spot I was sitting in.
That marks refill you passed. Now head to the overlook of the refinery. You can be our eye in the sky.
This Bavarian refinery.
Just for anyone who's curious in the chat, right now, I think the fastest recorded time I set right before I came here was 3:10:01, and then while I was practicing here at ESA, I got like a 3:05:51. So that's, as far as I know, the fastest time. Again, I do look around occasionally to see if people submit new times on speedrun.com or just messing around on YouTube, and I haven't seen anything new. So as far as I know, that's up to date, but
I can see the smug look on your face
we'll see.
from here.
Yeah, as far as I can tell, there only seems to be one runner on speedrun.com that's got a similar time to you.
Right. So yeah, that was the other guy. Shout out to Benevolent Life, who had he had really contributed to a lot of the routing, especially the earlier portions of the game where I did that third set of liberations earlier up in the run instead of waiting to do it later. And the advantage to that, you know, again, is because it's easy to reset. So that was a lot of his input on picking the liberations, which was really good. Although I think he since moved on to other speed games. So here again, I'm doing the same thing where I'm looking away and then you know, waiting for enemies to spawn. And again, doing this with the jetpack is really good at taking care of groups of infantry like that. So I'm going to be using that as much as possible to set myself up in good position to shoot them.
Don't care.
So here I'm waiting for 2 jeeps to spawn. And again, I want to have those jeeps flip forward.
Let's go. New plan. There's a chopper in the hangar. Get to it. I'll cover you.
Also right now, for whatever reason, the Magnum sound is messed up and doesn't actually, there's no Magnum sound. It's just, it's gone. I don't know why this happens. It's been like that always.
Forward, cover us, Rico.
Rico, cover us.
Breaking cover. Get our backs, Rico.
Where is that guy going? Oh, that's a new one.
Not a fan of those crates, is he?
No, not at all. I don't, you know, it's a desperate maneuver. Must have known what was coming. He's looking to pop his tires.
Moving up, Rico. Cover us.
So again here, I'm just clearing waves of infantry. The intended strats for this mission is that I'm supposed to stay up on that ledge up there and snipe these people. The game doesn't actually yell at you if you come down here and destroy everyone on foot. And of course, destroying everyone on foot like this is just way, way faster, especially popping the tires on these jeeps. So now we're going to enter into the next phase of this mission where I'm going to escort this helicopter, because who doesn't love escorting? There's a risk here that this helicopter that I'm looking at is going to follow us. Usually the game despawns it, but if it does follow us, then I do need to get off and take care of it, because it is a missile helicopter and it will 100% destroy this helicopter in 2 hits.
We're in the clear. Almost in the clear.
Yeah, it looks like it already despawned. Oh no, it's right there. Maybe we have a customer today. Usually it would despawn it right around here.
Those guys, Rico.
Alright, well. Oh no, okay. There it went. So now we're just doing the escort. I will be hijacking a helicopter here, because right when we finish this mission, we're going to start the final set of liberations for the whole run. And those will be the liberations for the second part of the game, the second of the 3 acts.
Some more enemies incoming.
I'm surprised we're still alive. Your hacking skills.
Now I'm going to borrow this helicopter, because this is pretty useful for being a platform. I mean, the jetpack weapons are very good for some things. They're a little temperamental to use, just because you got to set yourself up like a jet fighter doing a strafing run. So having a helicopter to act as a platform is pretty useful. So now, yeah, like I was trying to look away. It's hard to look, kind of control your camera while in a helicopter, but I was trying to look away there to let these units spawn. And then, so there's 2 jeeps, and then sometimes a helicopter will spawn. There we go. So you gotta look away to let it happen.
can't peek behind the curtain at all.
Yeah, no, I mean, the only units in the game that the game will actually spawn, even if I'm looking, are the cargo planes. It will 100% spawn those in front of us and not care at all that we're looking behind the curtain. But the any other unit, it's gonna take its sweet time. So here we're doing the monitors before we continue liberations. Also, this is the only projector in the game that will destroy. Usually, this is in lots of other towns that we don't liberate in this run, but they're kind of annoying to destroy, which is why I use the safe strat there. So there, I was hoping I would have cleared that when I did that strafing run there, so I could do these sets of hacks. All right, my magnums are still silent, which is pretty cool.
It's very polite of that dude to wait until you finish.
Yeah, no, I always like it when they do that. You know, I really appreciate it when they don't shoot me in the back while I'm trying to hack. Okay, here we go.
Just came in the corner. Hey, what are you? Oh, sorry, you're busy.
Yeah, no.
I'll give you a minute.
Just, you know, hold on. Let me handle a few things here. Now, shooting these guys isn't the end of the world because I still need to do the havoc, and so killing them does count towards havoc. So it's not a total loss. Although, of course, it would be nice because ideally my allies would be destroying enough that I could rely on them.
We are sending naval support to your location. This is dispatch, sending ground reinforcements to your position.
All right, so now we're actually going to do, I mean, so a lot of this run is just, you know, optimized intended strats or choosing the right towns and provinces. We're actually going to do one of the more interesting glitches of the run now. There is a way to make yourself invincible, but it requires a bit of setup. And so I'm going to attempt to do that now. It's a little finicky. If you look it up online, there's a lot of people who have made setups that involve using really powerful weapons that you don't get until late game. I'm not a big fan of doing it that way, obviously, because I'd have to get all those weapons, and that takes forever. But anyway, in order to do invincibility glitch, you need to have a outpost that has one structure left in it. And then you need to kill yourself at the same time that you're blowing up that last structure. And the last important caveat is that you have to do it like a good distance away. Like you can't be next to the last structure. And so now hopefully we'll see the transformer get destroyed. Oh, no, okay. So there it didn't work because I wasn't able to blow it up just as I was going down. But it looks like it didn't blow up at all, so I'll get another chance to do it with the same outpost. There's 2 outposts in a row here that I can do the trick with. Yeah, see there, the transformer's still there because it didn't blow up.
Hey, what's the matter, guys?
So now we're going to do the same setup.
Reports of violence in the area. All units converge.
Yeah, see there we go. Now it works. So the game puts you into an invincibility state when the last structure in an outpost or a base is getting blown up, and then ordinarily, you would live because you were invincible, and then you would move on and do other things. But here, the advantage to being invincible is that in order to do the central military base, which is that big place over there on the hill, I need to do some very long hacking sequences in the middle of some very crowded and busy areas. And rather than deal with those long hacking sequences and having to clear enemies or any of that stuff, I'm going to make myself invincible, and so that way I won't get interrupted while I'm hacking.
What is the situation? Respond.
So Trilogy, this seems like a game with like a lot of different tricks, execution, remembering routes, that sort of thing. It seems like quite a popular game as well, with not many runners. How would you kind of suggest that people get into running this game if they're interested in it?
I mean, I think the best way to get interested in the game is really at this point just watch the runs that I've put up you know, I've done a few marathon runs, online marathons, like Scrub-a-thon 5 last year, and I did Shots Fired 4 recently. You know, and those are good places to figure out. In terms of playing and stuff, I mean, really just playing the game casually a lot, because a lot of the movement stuff is you know, it's just going to come with playing, getting a sense of, you know, when is it appropriate to use the jetpack, when is it appropriate to grapple, things like that. Because, you know, these tricks really aren't too execution heavy. A lot of it's just kind of getting a sense for, you know, how can I blow up this structure. So you can see right here, you know, I'm getting beamed. But because I'm invincible, it doesn't interrupt the hacking, which is really what I want. And I would say also, you know, if you have specific questions, Twitter is probably the best way. You know, if something isn't clear, I don't know. I would like to think most things are clear from the videos, but I realize I'm also in my own head as far as this run goes. So, you know, certainly feel free to hit me up on Twitter, PMC Trilogy. It's definitely the best way to get anything out of me. Marathon safety check, just make sure I didn't forget anything obvious there. You can see there, even when I'm getting hit by falling debris that I can't see, that I am A-okay, because I'm invincible. The invincibility state sticks around for a bit, but it will usually go away after fast traveling. So there's actually one town that we're going to liberate later that I should still have the invincibility state on, and it'll be very useful for that. So that's the end of the military base. And now we have to finish the last half of this province that we just started destroying earlier, and then we have one more province after that, and then we'll be done all the liberations for the whole game. And then it'll just be missions from there on out. I used to have a strat in regular any % without any DLC, where I would hijack or attempt to fly away a helicopter from the military base there. So that's second military base. You might be wondering, hey, wait a second, didn't all the major military bases have super weapons? And the answer is that military base does have a super weapon. It's an EMP cannon, so it only actually fires at you if you're in a vehicle. Obviously, I destroyed that all on foot to kind of reduce the need to worry about having the thing destroy my vehicle. There is a helicopter spawn after you destroy the base that you can get away. You can get away from the EMP cannon without being shot through some very deft piloting, but it's not very guaranteed. The helicopter flying isn't that reliable, so just relying on this weapon is fine with me. All right, so we got, so that was the last outpost in this province. We have a town that we have to destroy now. Also, if you're curious, that is the voice of David Tennant. He is in this video game for some reason, for, I don't know, just for fun. Also, the most efficient way to take care of these billboards are just to grapple them. And just kind of tug them right down. Oh, there was, I knew there was a speaker right here. All right, so now we're going to take care of this police station. That'll be the last set. That'll be the last part for this province, and then we'll have one more province to go through. Sometimes if you fall onto stuff that like moves around, Rico takes a real long time to get up. So here I'm just trying to get as much stuff to explode as possible. Yeah, to get the Havoc meter up. Because that's kind of the best way to get Havoc meter up when you're on foot is by throwing grenades at vehicles. Contributes a lot to the bar.
Just a quick announcement. We have 2 new donation goals. So fairly soon, Final Fantasy 13 will be starting on the 2nd stream. It'll be going on for 5 hours, so you can easily join it after Just Cause 3. But there are 2 new donation incentives, basically to defeat a couple of the mega bosses in the game, $200 for each. So if you want to donate towards some goals, now you have some.
There you go. Lightning strikes twice, but only if you donate. So we've started the last province of the game, which consists of 2 towns. Actually, yeah, some small towns. The game also has these little tiny towns, which are like, I would call them hamlets or something, you know, that you just have to destroy. Typically a statue and 1 or 2 speakers.
Rebel activity reported. Get to the following coordinates immediately. Sending additional reinforcements to your location.
And now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to destroy the last military base that we need to destroy. And thankfully, this military base is full of pretty normal stuff. There isn't anything like the excavator or any of that. There is a large SATCOM dish like there was in Falco Maxime. But thankfully, for whatever reason, the satellite dish can actually be destroyed pretty convincingly by the jetpack. So there is unfortunately there is a glitch where the Capstone Hydra, which is the burst rocket launcher, the spreader, gets kind of broken if you basically it's if you have the jetpack reloading the rocket. But I think that however they programmed it, the rocket is like on the same maybe piece of memory that the. Oh no, maybe it's just broken. I thought I had figured out how to recover. There are situations where I will be able to use that rocket launcher again, but for right now, I am out of luck because it has glitched and stopped working. But it's only that particular weapon. Any other rocket launcher, any of the grenade launchers, they will all work fine. It's just Capstone Hydra, which is again is the spreader rocket launcher. So here I'm gonna help myself by getting rid of that rocket launcher since it's glitched right now. You can see that works fine.
Does that happen every time or just sometimes?
It only happens sometimes. It's not something I've been able to reliably reproduce. And again, too, reliably reproduce not only in terms of the glitch happening, but also in terms of it going away. There will be situations later on where I'll be able to use that rocket launcher again. So it's not like it's glitched for the rest of the game. It's almost like the invincibility status. It's just something that's glitched. And may or may not stop at some point in the future. A lot of things in this game are like that. Well, I'm trying to liberate these people from the military, just trying to help them out.
Yeah, I mean, I can see a lot of liberations going up all over the place there.
Right. Think about all the other things they'll be able to do when they're free of these military bases. The mind is boggled.
I mean, they can sift through rubble.
Yeah, all the salvage. So you can see here I still have the invincibility status because I was being shot while I was doing that hacking, but it didn't stop me. Kept on hacking. Very, very focused. So here's the last big town that we're going to have to liberate. Kind of the same, meet the new town, same as the old town. Some speakers, some billboards, a statue, and a police station. So at this point, one thing that's important when doing this second set of liberations is that at some point you really want to grab a flare, because we consumed a flare when we left the previous mission, and so it's really important that we get that flare, because we will come to a point after the end of the next mission where many times I've forgotten to get a flare, and then you have to travel somewhere to get another flare. So here, I still have the invincibility status, so hacking these is pretty good time. Although actually my allies are helping me out, which is very nice. I deeply appreciate that. So I'm gonna shoot a few of these guys. The barrels are really good contributors to Havoc. Generally, any sort of explosions are a good time. Fortunately, I'm out of grenades, so I need to fill up there, but okay, so now we can go and complete this, and we have one more little place, and then we'll be done with liberations. We'll be done hand delivering freedom for right now, and we'll go back to the normal missions.
Hello, citizens of Medici. Espia Alta's demolition occurred
Wait a second. Okay.
as scheduled. There's no point in
Making sure I got my bearings.
the plans have been on display at your
So yeah, so one more place here, and then it'll actually be missions from here on out for the rest of the game, which will be pretty good. We have some very exciting missions and some not too exciting missions, but we'll make it through. This is one of these seaside hamlets that you need to take care of. All right, that's it. Liberations are done. We are on to missions now. Nothing but missions.
It's a nice little thumbs up moment there. I think all we were missing was a mission accomplished banner behind you.
Right? I feel bad for not having brought it. Clearly that's always worked before in history, so I don't see why it wouldn't work again.
And I guess you think if everywhere was liberated, then that'd be game over. We're done.
That would be a
Surely.
problem, right? You can't liberate everything all at once. The liberation, I guess everything is good in moderation, even liberation. So if you thought that escorting a single truck or escorting a truck and a helicopter was not exciting enough, well, have I got good news for you, because we're going to escort 3 trucks.
Woo, that's 3 times the fun.
That is, in fact, 3 times the fun. I'm very glad that you got that. I am going to kind of move that boy because he is in the way. So this is mostly just going to be your typical sort of escort. Make sure nothing slows them down. A lot of that is going to be, there are going to be checkpoints along the way, and I'm going to be going out of my way to destroy enemies as soon as possible when they pop up. So here I'm going to use an explosive weapon to take care of these guys up top.
Look alive, people.
And then destroy these 2 boys down here. And then we got our good old friend Jeep, who had a bad day. So then I have to kind of wait for this to get to the next checkpoint. They take a long bend in the road.
Can you fix it?
Not the amount of time we have. Let's see how far we can take it.
All right, so yeah, that building down there is where the next province is going to be. I have to kind of wait for them to get there, because you see if I get too far away, I get that 20-second timer. And this is one of the times where I actually have to wait for them to get in position before I get too close. There are two infantrymen down there that I can kill before starting. So now I'm going to look the other way, just to give the game an attempt, to let the game spawn the units that I need to kill as soon as possible.
I'll clear a path.
As soon as he says that, you can see the red Doritos. Unfortunately there I managed to collide with the helicopter debris, which was a very good coincidence. As you can see there I still have silent revolvers.
Alright, that's
Very
it.
cool
Let's go,
audio
everyone.
glitch.
Just to be clear,
I thought it was for more
you're
stealth.
gonna owe us another favor after
I mean, I wish. You know, I often like to put
they're coming from behind.
a silencer on my revolver. It's one of my favorite things to do in PUBG, but alas, we do not have that option. Does not seem like stealth is an important part of this game for some reason. I don't. There's really no strategy here. I'm just kind of waiting for the convoy to get closer to its next destination, making sure the convoy doesn't get in trouble.
I guess the strategy would be that you're liberating those enemy jeeps.
That's right. You know, well, I'm trying to liberate my convoy, I feel like, and liberate them from... Because the thing that will really, really get me is if an enemy unit drives in front of them, and the damage that they do from machine gun fire really isn't a problem. It's really the... oh, that was a good driver. It's really things getting in front of the vehicle convoy that really can cause a problem.
Great idea. Yes, this route is one way.
Suddenly random deer.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of they gotta live somewhere, and fortunately, some people gotta live in Just Cause world. Someone recently asked me which would be worse, to have to live in Just Cause world or GTA world, and I'm pretty sure the easy answer is we'd rather live in GTA world, because Just Cause world seems like a very bad time. So here's the first time that I'm going to destroy a cargo plane. And it can be done using just this weapon. Very effective. One important consideration here is that I need to wait for the convoy to get into position, because there are 3 enemy units down there that I'm going to destroy in a second, but I can't destroy them until the red Doritos pop over their head, because otherwise I will get a soft lock.
Okay, we're clear. Let's roll.
So now the next concern is that we have to worry about does this work? Yeah, it works right now. Okay. A tank is going to show up, and tanks are the only thing that can really do enough damage to be a concern for the convoy. So I'm going to wait for this tank to show up, because the tanks have very good aim. The AI doesn't have problems aiming in this game. There's no problem there. They've got their tank aiming down. So, because the game actually doesn't really move a turret to aim things like rockets or tank turrets. The game just kind of shoots in the direction that it wants to shoot in.
Incoming.
Sometimes it's second tank spawns, but usually doesn't happen.
I see more coming from behind.
And then once we cross this bridge, we'll have a run into some helicopters, and we'll be pretty close to the end of this mission. Dear civilian, I really need you to not be driving in front of me like that. Oh. Sorry.
You're driving us right in front of a military base? Seriously?
So we're getting pretty close. Once we get close enough to the end point of the mission, I'm going to start taking a few strafing runs to clear away enemies, because one of the requirements to finish the mission is to clear away all the enemies at the end. And I can do that well before they actually get to where we need to go. Usually, yeah, okay, there he is. Usually that helicopter pops right up after you drive by there, but I guess he was taking his sweet time now. Alright, we're going to take care of that. And then we're going to move on. So the convoy is going to wind through this tunnel and come down to this area down here. But I don't really need to wait for them, because I can start taking care of some of this right away.
Whoa! Simmer down, amigo. Fine. We'll talk later then.
So I just need to get back to them to reset the timer. And also, well, sometimes I take care of this helicopter. Sometimes the helicopter takes care of itself. All right, so now we took care of that. We just got to go back here and get the rest of the infantry. that the rocket spray, the spray weapon on the jetpack is pretty effective at being an anti-infantry weapon. So this should be fine. Again, we're just waiting for the convoy to get here. The convoy is very slow. Oh. Apparently they are having trouble with a parked car. What? I don't know. I've never seen that before, but sure.
We can add that to the that's never happened before.
Yeah, no, that's really, you know, it's an old meme, but it checks out.
And there are the tanks. At least something Sheldon said.
Usually a guy will spawn back here. I think they did this as kind of a safeguard against a soft lock happening. Usually, as soon as we clear the infantry, we'll run out of heat, but I'm still getting heat here for some reason. Okay, there we go. Finally cleared. Yeah, so they're supposed to drive in formation, but I guess they had all locked together.
Are we close enough?
Yes.
I have to press the button here to end the mission. It's 2 cutscenes instead of 1 cutscene for some reason. And then we're going to head back to do sort of the last, I would say the last normal mission of the second part of the game. We'll be moving on to the missions for the third part of the game pretty shortly. So this mission upcoming is going to be a pretty pure destroy waves of enemies mission. And thankfully, most of the enemies we have to destroy are very susceptible to weapon fire from the jetpack.
An EMP move to harbor can protect Cove better there.
So again, these boats, it's very easy to destroy the boats with the weapon fire. The one thing you have to be careful of is that it will take a while for them to drown. So if you let them get too close to the water, they might not actually drown. Make sure you take care of them. I'm going to take care of that later and instead focus on these. Because again, the advantage there is you want to let them drown, and then you can come in and take care of them.
Incoming. Danger. Get on the 50 now.
One of the things I need to do during this mission is that I need to
Helicopters incoming.
get a flare here. Because I'll need that after finishing this mission. So here we're going to... these helicopters are also very susceptible to fire from the jetpack weapons, so we're going to continue to pretend that we are a jet fighter ourselves. So there's a certain line of dialogue that we're looking for where we'll be able to go to the EMP bomb and just take care of that without having to worry about fighting any more waves of enemies. So I think we pretty much just have to get these last 3 soldiers. And then, yeah, I think once she says that, maybe it's the next one. I always forget this one, but... There we go. Okay, so that's the line of dialogue when he says they're coming from everywhere. And then I can pretty much just head over here and wait to press this button. And now we'll destroy all vehicles. And since I also destroyed all the vehicles right away, enemies would ordinarily get out of the Jeeps, but because I prevented them from getting out of the Jeeps... Oh my goodness, I am messing up here. I gotta get up and destroy this. Here we go. Okay. Did not want to give him a chance to drop paratrooper because that would take forever to clean up.
Maybe I got back into battle too soon. Incoming helicopters. They're going for the EMP.
So here you don't actually need to get all of these boats. Once you hear, say, Bavarian tanks inbound, that's the cue. Yeah, Bavarian tanks detected. So here I'm going to destroy this last guy because he's too far out. I actually caused him to stop so far away that the EMP cannon will not destroy him. So now the EMP is primed, and I can just go over there. Oh, hey, pieces of the cargo plane. Fancy meeting you here. And then there's going to be one more wave of enemies that I need to take care of. Yeah, unfortunately, some of these are pretty highly armored, so.
Not at all. I simply didn't verify that the EMP works.
And then also sometimes these tanks are supposed to be dead, but the game will troll me. That's also what happens if you're standing upon a tank and the the shield turns on. Usually this is not a strategy I have to rely upon, but since we had to destroy 2 of them, actually I'm going to wait until the shield goes off. Usually I would have ammo to take care of this, but had to rely on that strat because I ran out of ammo. Also, I don't know what's happening with this guy. The AI in this game is very anomalous. Alright, so there's the end of the mission. And so now we're finally going to be, we're going to do the super weapon destruction mission next. And then we'll finally get to the war mission to end the second part of the game. The one thing I'm going to do is I did pick up a flare, but I'm also going to pick up some ammo because I need some ammo in order to destroy the stuff in the second part of the game. I'm going to take this just in case I get glitched. And then we're going to go to this marker. This is one of the few times in the marker where I'm going to do a normal fast travel where I'm going to jump out of a helicopter. So this is going to be just like the super weapon destruction mission from before, where I'm going to follow some pipes, kill a few units, and then get inside an underground base in order to blow up a series of generators. Yo, shout outs to load times.
Hello, pipes.
Just keep following those pipes.
The game wants us to go underwater through that little tunnel there, but you don't have to. You can just fly up here.
Control center. Run out the pipes, but we have boats again. Must be underwater.
Ideally, I would have been in a position to use the jetpack weapons on those boats, but I came in kind of low, and so I just opted to use the ammo I had on available to me. And you can use the grapple cancels to kind of just move from grapple to grapple. You don't. There is an upgrade in the game for doing grapples while grappling while you're grappling, because I heard you like grappling. But you don't actually need that. You can just cancel grapples. It works just fine.
This looks kind of familiar. Time to get to work.
Yes, must destroy everything.
So there we unfortunately did not get the last one to blow up. The fire leech is kind of unreliable when it comes to blowing these things up, which is why I prefer not to use it. but it was what we had there, so I decided to take it instead of risking going to another place and not getting a better weapon.
Rebel forces should be free to approach Border Dracon.
We're waiting for this gate to open up. Again, there when I'm ascending, I'm canceling the grapple because I just sort in a controlled fall state, I will just bounce off as opposed to being stuck against the wall and having to watch an animation where Rico tethers in and hangs.
Rebel scouts have now been able to scan the interior of Border Dracon. Interesting results. Come see me when practical.
So now we're going to do the war mission for the second part of the game. This one is going to dump us straight into the battle as opposed to having any sort of warm-up part. We are going to take a helicopter so the first part of this war mission is a battle where we're trying to defend a plane that's taking off. And the plane has AI that's exactly as stupid as the rest of the AI in this game. So we kind of have to baby it as much as possible. Usually you can massage it into taking off, but it is definitely far, far, far from being guaranteed. So this runway here is where we're going to try and help this plane take off. And before I get into position to help it, I'm going to take care of these SAM sites. The goal here, rather than doing multiple battles like we did last time, because so many enemy units are spawning here, we're just going to focus on trying to blow up enough that we don't even need to bother with going to another battle site. Especially because the second battle site is very, very slow. So that's a bit of bad luck there because I can't really blow that up right now because it is just way too close. So I kind of have to hope the plane just like leaves it alone or something. Usually the enemy AI doesn't drive the Jeep so close. But yeah, no, this is, ooh, maybe the rebel plane's gonna get away. Nah, the rebel plane's done. Nope, maybe it's gonna get away. Okay, we gotta make sure. So enemy units are spawning in kind of from all directions right now. So it can be a bit difficult. Oh, maybe we got okay. Yo, amazing. It actually took off. So now we're going to restart last checkpoint. The reason we're going to restart last checkpoint is because of the sort of freeform structure of the mission, the game doesn't actually know where we're going to be when we finish liberating the province, when we finish the war mission. And so what we're going to do is we're going to do that last checkpoint because it'll put us right next to the next objective. See, right here, we're already in position right towards the final part of the mission.
What now?
Disable the cooling turbine to lower the blast shield. Yes, push forward, Rico.
It's also important again to mention that you don't take collision damage when you're in parachute state. And so that helps you just hit the missile there and then immediately go into parachute state so you don't take any damage. So here we have to destroy three generators, which requires pressing these switches to open them up. So I'm out of grenades. I gotta use regular old gunfire for this one. And then you guys gotta leave the place. And so now we are done with the second portion of the game, and we're on to the third set of missions. As I mentioned before, we had done the liberations for the third set of the game much earlier in the run, so we don't have to worry about those anymore. And now we'll start the next part of the game where we're going to do one of probably the silliest missions in the game. Early on in this game's history, there was a significant glitch where the lock-on would break, like the lock-on for certain jet planes, handheld rocket launchers, and whatnot would just outright break. And that was very annoying because the intended strats for the next mission was that you would use a jet fighter to lock onto enemy jet fighters, and you would have to destroy all these enemy jet fighters as you're, flying to catch up with this plane that you were trying to save. We don't have to worry about any of that. We can just, go in there and fly towards the plane that we need to save because there is a global cap on the number of missiles that can be on screen at any one time. And furthermore, the player can monopolize that global cap. So rather than worry about having to shoot enemy jets, I can just keep going and really not worry about any of those enemy jets. Oh, this is a new one. Cool. Okay, this is, yeah. We'll add that to the queue.
That's very pretty.
Yeah, no, it's very great scenery. Super, super cool. That is. I often thought that was about to happen to me, but it's never occurred before. So anyway, I'm gonna spam missiles for like the next minute. And again, there is a global cap on missiles. So even though these other jet fighters have plot speed where they can fly faster than me and catch up to this plane, I don't actually have to worry about them doing anything because they can't fire missiles so long as I'm firing missiles and consuming the whole cap. Again, there is a global cap on missiles. So I'm sure these missiles are probably landing somewhere, and I'm sure they're bringing lots of liberation to wherever they're landing.
It's a bit like Santa, really, isn't it?
Oh yeah, no, it's... So all we need to do here is we just need to catch up to the plane and wait for a checkpoint. And by going to this checkpoint, several things will happen. First, all the enemy jet fighters will go away. Second, I'll be in perfect position to get onto that plane. And then third, we'll actually be several kilometers closer to our destination. Even if you did this mission legit, you would actually, so right now we're only going to be, I think, like 2.5 kilometers. If you had done this mission legitimately, you would have been 5 kilometers and would have taken a lot longer to fly here.
I feel like the Team America theme should be playing right now, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, somewhere there's a lot of America. That's absolutely very, very true.
Coming again to liberate the day, America.
Also, this is how you land planes. Very safe. Yep, there you go. Don't really have to worry. Very good suspension on these planes. I'm not quite sure why, but
that was a very, very smooth landing.
Yeah, I know. It's
for a video game.
Right. Oh, yeah. No, you usually feel like plane landings you're going to be in trouble, but it actually turns out pretty okay.
Normally, you also feel like it doesn't matter. Like you just bail out or crash the plane into the nearest building.
No, that's the one time we kind of do it right. Anyway, you're probably, you might have been wondering, say, wow, Trilogy, it's sure been a long time since we've had an escort mission, like, can you do anything to help me? And the answer is yes, I can help you.
Oh, thank goodness.
Because we now have to escort a train. And you might, well, why are we escorting a train? Is there like something important on it? There's nothing about this train that's important, except that apparently it's going to go in the direction of another train that we do need to destroy. And we can only find that other train if we escort this train. And you know, even though there's only one set of train tracks on the island, there's no bridges. I mean, there's no I forget the correct ferroequinology terms, but there's no splits. There's no choices left, right, no nothing.
No junctions.
Yeah, no junctions. That's right. We're gonna find the train we're looking for, and it's gonna be on the same set of tracks as the train we're escorting. That's the whole reason that we have to escort this train. So this is definitely maybe my favorite mission scenario in the game, that we have to escort a train to find another train on the same set of tracks.
Okay, get ready. Your ride should be passing by every moment now.
So one train leaves the friendly territory at approximately 11:55 a.m. At the same time, another train going in a different direction leaves the enemy territory probably about 5 minutes later. What time do they meet?
I mean, I don't think, you know, in America, maybe we just don't want to do the math. You know, maybe we just want to escort the train, because escort missions don't require math, I guess, maybe.
That's true.
So you, as a little side note, you can hack this. If you remember from early in the game, there was a train car that launched clusters of missiles. This is one of those train cars, and you can actually hack this train car to shoot at enemy helicopters. And early on in running this game, I used to do this. I used to hack it, and I would let it do all the work, and I would walk around, enjoy my life, be happy and free. But I don't do that anymore, because one time on a PB pace run, it somehow just killed me. It somehow just shot me for whatever reason, and so now I just take care of all the helicopters myself.
Well, if you want a job doing right.
Yeah, no, you got to do it yourself. Absolutely.
By the way, I should make an announcement. So you may see on the stream that we've got just over $81,000 donated. There are actually missing donations, and we've had word that those missing donations are around $10,000. So we're actually about $8,000 away from 100K.
Oh, damn.
So, man, guys, we are so close to just really hitting a really big milestone, and only half a day left for the marathon. So, guys, I think we can do this. I think we can get 100K total.
Get those donations in. Whoop. Usually what? Wait, is he okay? Sir? Are you fine? No.
He looks pretty liberated to me.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he was about to be very free, but all right. Well, he's coming back for more freedom, so it's sorry, buddy. Oh, no, maybe not. So anyway, the reason why I need to stand right here is because there are oncoming trains from behind that will attempt to destroy the train that I am escorting. And the most resource-efficient way to take care of these enemy trains is to decouple a car from the rear of the train. It's important that I look at it because this game has really, really weird rules about despawning train cars that are no longer attached to a moving train engine. And so, literally multiple times, I've looked away and the train car despawns, and then the oncoming, oh, hey, goodbye. The oncoming train will still be there, whereas the train car that I decoupled will have despawned. So here, I'll sort of be able to skip the third part of the mission. We're going to get another one of these oncoming train cars. And after I watch this one sail off into the sunset, I'll finally be able to sort of skip the third part of the mission. The third part of the mission is pretty short, but what I'll be doing is I'll be setting myself up to travel quickly for the next part of the mission. Because someone helpfully included a jet fighter on here. So what I'm able to do, if I was feeling really swag, I would take off inside the tunnel, but I have crashed too many times and too many weird things have happened during this run. So I'm just going to wait until we exit. Then I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. So right now, I'm in another one of those situations where I'm going to get away from the train. It's going to give me a 20-second timer, but I actually just need to get to the spot where the enemy train will appear. And once I get to that spot, I'll be in a position to destroy the enemy train as it appears. So there we go. That's the end. So that's all we needed to do. We didn't actually need to save it. In fact, the TO explicitly tells you that you could use the train that you were escorting to destroy the other train, which really is really pretty cool. All right, so now the next mission we're going to is right here, which is why we picked up the jet plane, so that we can get there ASAP. And now we're going to do a little prison escape mission, where I'm hoping to get lucky doing some hacking sequences, because I have to hack some gates open. But yeah, if you didn't know, jet fighters can take off from trains in real life. That's really why trains are so important, because they allow jet fighters to get places quickly.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty common phenomenon. I know, like on the 831 from Guildford to Waterloo, probably 5 times out of every 7, there's a jet fighter.
Yeah, it's a jet fighter, just right in the middle of the train.
Yeah, normally gets off about Woking, I think.
Right. Happens all the time on Amtrak. So here we're going to pick up some magnum ammo and some grenades to make the next part easy. What we have to do is we have to hit some switches and then hack a panel here. Again, this is another situation where doing the canceled into control fall is really useful, because I'm able to hit these switches as soon as I hit the ground. Pray for stormtrooper aim. Nope, no stormtrooper aim. Sometimes they just get really distracted and they don't actually shoot me right away, but let's play this for safety. So that's kind of the normal case scenario, where you're able to defeat one wave of enemies before you can successfully hack that. Sometimes you'll get lucky and you'll be able to just hack it right away because enemies won't be in the right position or something like that. And then the worst case scenario is that everyone comes to the yard and you have to kill all of them. Yeah, shout outs to the sniper. He's usually not in position to shoot me, but apparently is out. Okay. See, this is kind of the bad scenario where everyone starts coming after you. Because obviously there's groups of enemies all throughout the level, and so what you don't want is to be aggroing all the enemies, so you have to spend time killing all of them. So here we just need to do a few more generator destructions like we had been doing previously.
Rico, things just got hot real fast up here.
Primeros men are swarming the entrance of the mine. Get to the surface and help us out.
All right, so we gotta make sure There should be a few Jeeps that come in here, and we want to pop their tires right away.
Thank you, Rico. These people
All right, so we're going to do a save and quit strategy here. The next mission start is in a part of the map that we've never been to, so we have no fast travel markers to get anywhere near it. The game has a sort of short list of places that it'll put you when you start up the game, and so actually the next startup point is very, very close to the place that we need to go to, and so this ends up being the best location to the best place, because even though the game has a pretty long startup time, we still want to use this. This is definitely the best way. I remember at launch, this game was very notorious for having a long startup time, but it's gotten they improved it a little bit with patches, because I know that was one of the big problems early on in this game. So that got better. You know, they did fix some things. They fixed the lock-on problems for the most part, and they fixed some of the load time stuff, but still could probably use some tender loving care. If there was any hot donation incentives or anything that we should know about.
I mean, donations are pretty much the same as they were, but we've still got some hot incentives. If you want any of the Final Fantasy 13 super bosses to be defeated, or if you want to donate for the various names in Majora's Mask or Pokemon Ruby Sapphire.
Hey, hate to bother you, amigo, but thought you might be interested.
All right, so here we're in a part of the map. We're basically in the extreme northwest part of the map.
Come see me when you find some time in that busy schedule of yours.
And now we're going to start, just in case, you know, you said, well, look, Trilogy, we have escorted everything that we could possibly escort. How could we possibly improve on escorting a train? And well, have I got the answer for you, because now we're going to escort a very large plane.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know. Perhaps the juiciest escort mission yet.
I can't wait to see your hot, juicy escort mission.
But we will do something fun first. In doing this mission, the idea is that we're supposed to be driving a Jeep onto a cargo plane as it's taking off. But instead of doing it as intended, the game wants us to drive through this little mountainside trail, but trails are slow, cliffs are faster. So we are going to,
I mean, it's a four-wheel drive, right?
Yeah, see, it's fine. That was that's part of the feature set. So it's actually this is a pretty good. If we get lucky here, we might hit a tree that we can't break. Oh, there we go. This is okay. This is, yeah. See, that's exactly how we drew it up.
As intended.
And so when you do this, the plane will start taking off, and you just have to get up and turn around in time. Don't handbrake turn too much.
Oh, it's a good thing we done that hill, otherwise that plane would take off too quickly.
That would have been a problem. I agree. So now we are going to just stand on top of this plane and protect it from jet fighters for like a good few minutes. And this is actually usually the part of the run where I still am able to get up and walk around and everything. I don't actually have to worry about that other guy in the cargo plane. He just he disappears at some point. So yeah, so we're here. The jet planes don't even show up for like a good 15 seconds. So, and then once the jet fighters even get here, I don't actually use any guns to destroy them. They come in sets of 4, so you're able to pretty much always tether the jet fighters to each other and retract the tethers, and that will take care of the planes. And unfortunately, passing this mission doesn't require that I kill X number of planes. It actually just requires that the cargo plane gets to a specific physical location. And so yeah, we're pretty much just biding time until we get to that physical location, and we're tethering jet fighters to each other.
So a lovely little sky chase moment. We do have one donation that's just come in. It's an anonymous $5 donation. It says, love the run, love the event, and really love the great commentary. More people should run this game.
That would be cool. I agree. Yeah, so this is how air defense works. You just tie planes together, and eventually they bump into each other and instantly explode. It's pretty normal. So we're getting pretty close here. The city's up there ahead. We're gonna fly over the city, and then once we get out over the water, is where the mission end the game will prompt us to get back inside the cargo bay. And once we get inside the cargo bay, we'll be able to end the mission by driving the bomb truck out the back of the plane. Very safe. The one risk of this strategy is that sometimes, because these are basic game tethers, is that sometimes the tethers will just snap because something weird happens. So far, usually it's pretty consistent though. Usually you want to tether them in the front. It's kind of the safest place to do it. Sometimes you'll get flaming pieces of debris caught on the plane. Looks pretty cool. It's very PUBG-like. Yeah, see there, Sheldon's giving his lines about the city, and then once we get out over the water, we'll be pretty close to this mission ending. Alright, well, we'll just take care of this guy because his buddy got... You can just shoot the jet fighters. They actually don't take too much damage to destroy. We're pretty close to the end for this anyway. Usually once we make this bank turn, that'll be the end of things. Ooh, wow. Good hit. Oh, hello. This is safe. Alright, this is fine. Okay, so then we just got to get on this truck as intended and drive it out. And that's the end of the last, the last escort mission in the game, I think.
Give the general this. It does make a very pretty bomb.
Get some pithy dialogue. Tom Sheldon's like the new Coke.
And thanks for flying Air Sheldon.
All right, so the next I think we have 3 more missions. Yeah, 4 missions. We have 4 more missions. Left in the game. So the next one is going to be another wave of enemies missions that will be trying to use the jetpack weapons as much as possible to take care of the incoming waves of enemies. But we're going to be doing some maneuvering to make sure that we keep our flare route intact, because right here we're going to consume a flare, but instead of going closer to the mission start location, we're going to go back to our base. Because again, whenever you travel from a place that you have liberated or otherwise control, you don't consume a flare. And so we need to make sure that during some of these late game missions, when we're traveling from places that we haven't liberated, that we're doing so without putting ourselves in a position where we're stranded, and that we need to go out of our way to get another flare. So here I'm going to use one of the jet fighters in the base to get to the next mission start location. So that little wall right there where my crosshair is where we're going. Because the idea is that this mission is going to involve us defending the wall from a series of attacks because we have resources here or something like that. So I can get a very, very generous shot of Mario doing something obscene because I guess the writers thought if you got a big wall, that's the first thing you're going to do with a big wall. And then we'll get into the mission. So initially we're going to have some ground units that we're going to deal with as well as some helicopters, and then it'll be sort of a mix. It'll be a few waves of helicopters after that. That was definitely intended. So here I'm going to take this tank, since this is a pretty effective way to take care of the enemies here. The helicopters, instead of going after the cargo, will actually focus fire the player, which is annoying because it can make it very difficult to aim at them, especially since the tank controls are really kind of finicky. We're just going to use the jetpack here. So one of the advantages of using the jetpack here is because in normal any percent, I would use the anti-air cannons to take care of these waves because that's sort of the most reliable way to get rid of them. But here we're going to use the helpful jetpack weapons because that will allow us to get over to them sooner. The only problem here is, of course, that you have to set yourself up to do these sort of strafing runs properly, and with the helicopters chasing you, be a little finicky. Again, there I'm going in the parachute state to avoid taking collision damage. So first they send 2 jet fighters, and actually, as it turns out, since the jet fighters in this game are sort of artificially slow, the jetpack is actually pretty good at destroying them. So here we're going to end the mission by killing the guy we recruited at the beginning of the game, who is Zeno, who we rescued in that mission where we were escorting the helicopter and the Jeep. But thankfully with jetpack weapons, destroying his helicopter is trivially easy. For some reason, the game sets us up on a motorcycle and it's like, here, drive this motorcycle and chase the helicopter. It'll be really awesome. I was like, no, I don't want to do that. All right, and that's the end of that mission.
Xeno's been taken care of.
A lot of people here at the cove didn't.
So now we have basically just 3 more missions. We have the final super weapon destruction mission, the final war mission, and then the final boss. Again, in order to maintain our flare route, we're going to teleport or fast travel back to the Rebel Cove in order to pick up another flare and then use that to travel to where we need to go.
I have a $10 anonymous donation. Thank you for teaching us all about the techniques of efficient liberation. Thank you for the donation.
Liberation is almost as important as donations, but not quite.
Almost.
Almost. So the start of this mission is right at the bottom of this mountain. This is unfortunately the closest marker we have to get to it. This is much better than starting at the military base because the nuke weapon at the military base is still active, even though we liberated that base. And so we would be having to dodge nuke shots if we went from there. Unlike the first 2 super weapon destruction missions, here we're going to be, there isn't going to be any swimming. We're just going to have to climb up a cliff wall to get inside the structure where the generators are being kept.
You know the drill. Follow pipes.
Oh, that must be a train that's shooting at me. Okay, yeah. Usually there's nobody locking on here, but anyway, this is how wingsuiting. If you've ever wondered if you can wingsuit basically vertically straight up into the air, the answer is yes. This is very, very realistic. You can do this at home, you know, at your nearest mountain range. It's a good time. Now we're going to drop down a hole, basically almost all the distance that we just descended.
Yes, I knew that would be locked.
And then once we get inside, we will blow up the generators and escape, as we have done twice before. So you can pretty much immediately arrest your momentum by grappling.
A room full of white jackets.
I will say that unlike the previous 2 missions, they start shooting at me as soon as I appear, instead of waiting. Which, you know, shout outs to them for figuring out that I was a bad guy.
Apple W has been disabled. We are now free to approach Falco Maximo and destroy knowledge of Bavaria.
There is a way to clip through this. It doesn't really get you too much because you still have to get. Unfortunately, you still have to activate the checkpoint here. Yeah, so that would have still appeared, and I wouldn't be able to skip it. But nonetheless, it doesn't really. It probably only saves like a second or 2, just because you're able to not have to wait for the door to stop physically obstructing you. Alright, so now we're going to go on to the final war mission. The one thing I need to do here is I need to move over into the Falco territory, because since I've liberated Falco, but I haven't liberated the province I was just in, I saved myself from consuming a fast travel flare by traveling from Falco. Alright, so this will be, again, this is the final war mission. This is going to be similar to the others. Instead of the second war mission where we only did 1 battle, we are going to do 2 battles here, because the second battle, there's more opportunities for spawns to end the war mission. And this is going to be a situation in which the jetpack weapons are very helpful because we need to take care of these snipers, and again, the anti-infantry properties of this weapon are pretty OP. So here we go, we did it, we won the first battle. So if there's any targets of opportunity along here, I can certainly take pot shots at them. But ultimately, I really want to get to... oh, actually, wait a second. So once in a while, we get this spawn, which is very, very useful because, again, these helicopters are super destructive. And so I'm able to pretty much just blanket this whole area with enemy fire. Just really, really destroy things pretty quick. So now we're almost there. We just need to destroy a few more enemy units. There we go. And then we're going to do restart last checkpoint again. Kind of similar to how it worked before, this will place us several kilometers closer to where we need to go, and it'll also give us a jet plane. Unfortunately, we cannot use fast travel during missions, because of course otherwise I would just fast travel back up here. So for whatever reason, this is the game ends with two very long plane flights. This is one of them, where I just sort of have to fly a good, 5 kilometers, and there's going to be another 8-kilometer flight like right after this. We don't even have to get out of the jet. We can just fly up here and past this tower, and that'll be enough. All right, we're almost there. So this is the second to last mission, and then we will have one more mission after this, and that'll be the end of the run. Dima dies. If you cared about Dima, rip Dima. Oh yeah, just cause lore is very important. You have to respect the just cause lore. All right, and then so now we're going to fly to the final mission where we have to kill Di Ravello, who's flying in a Vivarium helicopter inside a volcano. So the mission start is over there. This is the closest fast travel marker. Yeah, so this final mission is going to, again, be like an 8-kilometer flight, followed by fighting Di Ravello in his golden invincibility helicopter.
Their deaths.
meet you there.
All right. So anyway, this is kind of the assuming everything goes well with the final boss, which of course it will. Just gonna give some some shout outs to a few other people who ran this game: Benevolent Life, Arthur Nori, Redemption 99. They all contributed to the run. And so that definitely, this run would probably not be, obviously I had some problems early on in Liberations, but in terms of a lot of the mission strats and choices of which provinces to liber and everything, I would not be as far as I am, without their contributions. And also to PaldiNet, who did do some code monkeying around and found some stuff, including that turncoat skip. It was super, super useful. Besides that, also thanks for inviting me to ESA to run this very long speed game. Obviously, not quite the world record I would like, but we're going to be safely underestimate here, so it should work out just fine.
You guys have got to be kidding me.
Yeah. Don't listen to her. Because we have got to do this. Okay, we'll see.
No. Maybe we start small, eh? First, you come stay at my grandma's, like when we were kids. And then we can...
Very, very exciting dialogue about what Mario is going to do after the war ends. Rico says, "No, bro, I'm just going to get wasted." So now there's two strats that I'm going to use here in attempting to take care of Di Ravello. One of them is going to be the quick kill, which hopefully works. Requires a little bit of luck in terms of predicting where he's going to move. And then the other is just kind of the normal backup strat. There's a lot of weird rumors on the internet about how to kill Di Ravello. And I've tested a bunch of them, and they're all terrible. So shout outs to the internet rumor mill. Oh, if you're okay, well, never mind. Well, so the idea here with the quick kill is that we're going to attempt to drop a plane on Di Ravello. That is the goal. I've done it pretty well a few times. Ideally, so there's kind of two things that can happen here. Either we can drop the crate will hit Di Ravello, which is kind of the ideal, and then the backup is that sometimes the plane will the plane will just kind of Rico, get off the lava, Rico, please. All right, so sometimes he'll hit the ground still in this state. Oh no, he just bounced off. All right, well we gotta go backup strats. It was worth a try. No, that's. So the problem here with the backup strats, we're just going to try and tether him to the ground. So ideally, we want to get him to flip, and it's a little temperamental, which is why the beacon quick kill is kind of our preferred method. And then sometimes the tether just breaks. So yeah, this happens sometimes on runs where you just kind of get a temperamental Di Ravello. Yeah, it keeps recovering. Man, this is welcome to Choke City. Oh wait, is he gonna blow himself up on this? Oh no, I died. Oh man. That's an even better form of choke. Don't worry. As soon as I kill this guy, it's going to be the run's basically going to be done. Yeah, I know, right? What are you doing, buddy? Here we go. See? So now the time will end when we just we have to shoot him during this cutscene, and so that's where the time is gonna be called, which I will happily slap this delicious button when that happens. Yeah, no, believe me, I made this estimate 320 for exactly the reasons that we saw during the early portion of the game. You know, unfortunately, the biggest problem with this run was just so many weird. We had the helicopter despawn. We lost several helicopters all during those early liberations, which really set us back in terms of being on time. But you know, most of the missions went pretty well. The later sets of liberations went fine. So you know, just got to keep working. As I said, in the practice room, unfortunately I don't have a recording of it, but I was able to get like a 305 run, and that's it. So, but anyway, you should all stick around because there are plenty more very good runs to finish out ESA, and lots more donations that you should contribute to, especially the Pokemon bid wars. Those are obviously very important. But Diravello here has failed his his nation. He's failed himself, and he's about to fail my patience as soon as the game lets me shoot him. As soon as he says Imperialist Dogs is when the run ends. There we go. Wait. Okay, I didn't hit the button hard enough. My bad. Well, I lose that second. But anyway, cool. I already did my shout outs during that jet plane, so thank you for having me, and that was Just Cause 3 any %.